Please retain your stub, sir.
I'm sorry. I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's had a good day, good week, and ready to join us for this gem of a movie. What's up, Shieldwall?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, this is a great classic movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. I think it has a very good story that you can be from almost any culture and understand the premise of the story and kind of how, you know what I mean? Like you get,
Yeah.
you know, it's not a very complicated story, but it has a lot of depth to it in a lot of ways. So yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm happy to get into this.
All right. And coming from the land of the rising sun, James, the Jinja Ninja.
How's it going? That one got me off guard.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. Yeah, this is one I remember. I remember the first time I watched this. I was actually, it was my first time in Japan, and I was at a library, and this is whatever you could. Was it laser discs? I think it was laser discs, and we had you could actually check out the laser disc and watch them there in the library. And this is the first movie that I watched there a long time ago, I think back in 98, 99. But yeah, when people ask me like movies that you like in black and white, like this is the first one that comes to mind. So looking forward to talking to it with you guys about it today.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cool. Glad you could be here. Sammy.
What's up? Yeah, I'm really glad that you asked me on. This is like probably one of my top 10 favorite movies. And I made Leon go solo tonight on our show Tinfoil Haters, so I can talk to you guys about it because I think it's not only a film that holds up, I think it's one of the most important films ever made. I really do.
Yep. I agree. Yep. And Toshiro Matfun. Welcome.
Toshiro Matfune.
Roman S. spell there, Jacob, on that one.
What?
Matfune.
Matfune.
Like Mifune, Toshiro Mifune. That being said, it's an interesting time because when I was, so what would have been like 1989 or 90, somewhere around there, when I was graduating high school, I obviously from Godzilla, I watched a lot of Japanese, like, that guy was in the Godzilla movie, let's check his movie out. Like, you watch the other science fiction films. So I came across Toshiro Mifune and got on a little kick because he is legit one of the top 5 actors of all time, even if you watch the subtitle. And obviously in Shogun, which is one of my favorite movies, the original one.
Oh yeah.
It's the greatest miniseries of all time. It's the greatest adaptation of all time. Hands down. And so I got on a Mifune kick. I want to say in my late high school years and watched probably like 30 or 40 of his movies I could get to at the time, you know. Um, and the peak of which is Yojimbo, if you haven't seen it. Um,
Oh my god.
and um, so that I didn't I knew this film was influential, which is my next point. But I was on a Shiro Mifune kick where I watched this movie originally, right? And then like I learned over time. Obviously, just the Magnificent Seven is basically a direct remake. Arguably, The Dirty Dozen is an indirect remake. You know, there's a series of movies and Battle Beyond the Stars, which is something people more people watch from the 1980s. It's one of the better remakes of a you know. Um, so this movie is legit one of the top three, if not the number one most influential movie of all time. When you count, there's like Star Trek plots that could be arguably based on like the Galileo Seven. You know, there's what else? Hold on, I'm trying to. Is it a Donnie Yen movie I'm thinking of, or Donnie Yen did a remake of a remake with China Gate? Um, you know, then there's an anime. What's the anime called? It's the Seven Samurai. Not called the Seven Samurai. It's called the Samurai Seven or something like that. You know,
Mm.
uh, there's the one oh god. Anyone besides me watched the Clone Wars? It's in the second or third season. There's an episode literally called where the bounty hunters do a Seven Samurai remake. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so that was great. And there's more, but that's what I'm remembering offhand. But those are the direct acknowledged remakes, right? You can see the
Right.
Seven Samurai formula in a
Mm.
lot of stuff. You know, with clue
Hmm.
the director, even if he wrote something original. With
Even the Ocean's 11 movies do, kind of.
I think Ocean's 11 based on a maybe the book based on the book though, but even so, the
I
book
think
might
so.
have had movie influences. You know,
Well,
Yeah.
there's plenty of media that just apes this, right? Like you
yeah,
Mm.
can't get around it. It's like the bicycle slide in Akira. Like everybody does it.
yeah. Well,
If you get
this might not have been the first team like Rogue Hero team up ever, but it was clearly the format like the foundational one. Oh, the movie didn't judge channel. Especially the movie, not the book version. Years of the Dead. Oh, the 13th Warrior.
Oh
Oh,
yes,
yeah, I
yeah,
was
that
just gonna
movie.
mention that.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep,
The
it's very similar.
the
yeah.
movie more so than the book, by the way. But
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
get that rogue warrior thing going on honor hunt, so to speak. You know.
Was it the 13th Warrior? The movie made as like a bet to make Beowulf interesting or something like that. Am I getting that wrong? I thought I heard that somewhere.
So he
It was like a challenge.
I don't remember the exact wording of it, but
Yeah,
it was a cross between two things or something like that, Beowulf
yeah,
and something else.
right,
And he also pulled in the real world writing of the travels of the Muslim character in the movie. Um,
right.
you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah, Ibn bin Falad, I think his
Falad,
name.
Fanad,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So
he actually traveled to up the
up to where the people in the Rus live, which if you
right.
watch the Northman,
I think it's
I love that movie.
It's not the
yeah,
Danube, it's a
great
different
one too.
river. But it basically those are the Russian, the Rus, right? Which are the
Right.
people that came from like the Sweden area that eventually
Uh-huh.
became the Russians.
yeah.
Right.
And but this is so far back that hadn't happened yet. And he was an official ambassador to the I think
He was sent as a scholar to teach the
to
newly
teach
converted
Islam,
Muslims
right?
Islam and
Exactly.
Islamic culture. Which, if you're wondering why there are Muslims in Central and Eastern Europe, that's why.
Right. And it goes that far back. But anyway, they go up the river and he encounters these Vikings and he sees an actual Viking burial
Yep.
and he writes all this stuff down. And it's why we have any idea of how it really
He's
went.
the only
Yeah.
recorded instance of a Viking funeral at sea where they burned the ship with the Virgin and all that.
Sacrifice. Yeah.
Yeah, he also recorded a couple other things in his travels, and then a lot of his stuff was lost. But then they found it in the 1920s, a complete copy of it.
Hmm.
So his
That's
whole travel
crazy.
log. Yeah.
Crazy stuff. Yep.
Right. But
But again,
anyways, so
just
yeah.
circling back to Seven Samurai, if you watch the movie, especially, you see the influences of it. You know.
Right. Right.
Right.
So the movie opens with some mounted men they look down on the village and say, "Hey, we they should be ready to raid again this year. We took all their rice last year and this year." And he's like, "Well, we'll have to wait till the crop ripens, so we'll be back." And they leave. And this guy was up here collecting wood, and he heard them, so he knows that
Mhm.
their village is going to get raided again by these guys. So they've already raided them once. And here's the thing: they're these areas were not so during this time. It was a period of intense civil war that had been going on for about by this point, because they talk about some dates in here, and I was able to figure out when this takes place. And this takes place in the 1580s, like 1587 or
Oh,
so.
okay. Cool.
Um, so it's still at the height of the Civil War. There's all these daimyos, leaders fighting each other all the time. The the side effect of that is a lot of one leader gets defeated and they don't take the samurai in from the other that defeated him, so these guys have to wander the land now as ronin. Well, a lot of them become bandits,
Yeah.
and a lot of the bandits aren't actually samurai. They're just farmers and villagers that got put into the army, and now they don't want to, they're going to make a living just raiding other places, because why go back to your village that's already burnt
Right.
or whatever.
So
And
I want to add to your historical context. So for those who, I mean, we mentioned Shogun earlier. Shogun is a compressed version of about 45 years of history, I would say, maybe 35. And when you're talking about when this occurred, this was occurring in that time period. This would have been when the general who all the five daimyos served, when he was consolidating power. This would have been when he
yeah,
was
the Oda Nobunaga
yeah,
guy.
Nobunaga. Yep,
Yeah, right.
yep.
And but so this village owes taxes to a liege lord. It is a feudal system. And so what they're talking about here is, what are we going to do? Because the lord's going to come and he's going to want his taxes. And they're like, well, maybe we can call the magistrate. But the magistrate, all he does is come after they've been raided, look around and go, oh, that's too bad. Make sure you pay your taxes and leave. And so they're at the mercy of these raiders. They'll just take whatever they want. And maybe if they're lucky, they'll beg for them to leave enough food so they can eat. Um, if you want to keep raiding the same village, you can't take everything, because then you got to let them like produce next year's crop. And so basically, they're waiting for them to do all the hard work and then just come take all their stuff.
And this is the brutality of non First World warfare, where you don't care about the people, even on your own side. You know what I mean?
And
Um,
let's see, that guy, who's that guy? So a lot of these guys are kind of very, um, I wouldn't say it's overacted, but they're very like caricature kind of things in Japanese kind of
I think that was
theater,
I think that was a deliberate character, like you were saying, a deliberate
right?
characterization of how, like, because much other Japanese time periods, films from this time period, especially this would have been when Japan was reestablishing its own self after the World War II, and they're under occupation right now, if I recall this time period correctly. Um,
Yes.
and so they're trying to like establish what is the new Japan, right? Um, and there were competing influences. You know, do we glorify the past? Do we realistically look at the past? Do we? And some of the influences of that mesh together in different ways. You know, and Kurosawa, obviously, his take on the cultural transformation. You know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Another thing that we kind of have to keep in mind is like Japanese theater, traditional theater such as kabuki.
I, I
Is
was just going to mention Kabuki. I was like,
Yeah,
there's
it's like
yeah.
very exaggerated, extremely
Mhm.
exaggerated. So I've had the luck to go see that a couple. I've seen it I think 2 or 3 times.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's very in your face.
Yeah, they
What's
have.
Yeah.
even more so than opera?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and they have,
Well,
so they have two traditions. They have kabuki, and then they have no,
No is
which
very quiet. I've seen that
yeah,
once, and
yeah,
it's
it's very quiet, and it's much more for like the upper class.
yeah,
Uh,
and the music that they're kind of playing at the beginning of this movie too really took me back to that No experience that I had. Yeah.
there's a scene later. where they raid the bandits, that the music played is very no in it.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so they're trying to figure out what they're going to do, and they got the whole village out here. Because that's the other thing about, well, I think even in medieval times, just everything was communal, but in Japanese culture, especially at this time, it was very communal. Um,
Mm.
Well,
I mean, you
you
Well,
would
still
too,
see that
so.
to this
with
day.
it being
It's
yeah,
a
funny that you
time of
mentioned that
war.
because we had our community center fireworks and little festival yesterday, where it's just like the community. Uh,
Well,
yeah,
so unlike say in Western Europe or even in other parts of Asia and Africa, there's no tradition of the local peasants being armed, right? So they
right.
right.
literally can't defend themselves. You know, like a cult, and this is a cultural thing. Like, here's your Naruto Tiny. Remember the first mission where they had to go hire a ninja because they weren't allowed to have arms. You know, the
Hmm.
locals, right? So, this is a sort of very true in Japanese culture. What these people had to do to get help, they had to save up money and or food in this case with no money, and do something which I guess would be probably fairly not popular, but widespread in the culture, which is hire rogue, what am I looking for? Rogue samurai,
Ronin.
Ronin,
Yeah,
hire Ronin, because the daimyos are all their resources are tied up in to Nobunaga's massive takeover of Japan. So they don't even have the resources to have their samurai patrol these areas because also it's like civil war going on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And so, but the bandits are a byproduct of the war. There's so
yeah.
many disenfranchised people. But
Yeah.
that was the same thing in medieval Europe during the night period, that period of nights. There were so many men under arms. This is what caused that got the Pope into, hey, let's send him on a crusade. Is there were so
Well,
many armed men that didn't have means, that they were just running rampant throughout the whole kingdom, tearing stuff apart. They had to find something for them useful to do.
um, I don't disagree, but it's a more nuanced thing in
Well,
Europe.
it is more nuanced than that,
Uh,
but it's a kill multiple birds with one stone kind of
yeah.
thing. Um, but they were only able to really pull it off is because they had so many guys under arms that knew how to fight,
Yeah.
and that's what happened. So now you have banditry because anybody that that doesn't have a
Well,
place to go, they can just run
the, the,
around and
the two
raid.
most the two most war torn areas in like when you look at human history are Japan and like Western to Central Europe. So there have been more war that occurred in recorded history since the year 2000, year zero, basically, um, in those two areas than in any place else.
So they go to
Yeah, my
see that. Oh, sorry. Go
okay.
ahead.
I was just gonna say my modern Japanese history class that I took in college. Yeah, it was just basically okay. Remember this show. Remember this emperor. Remember this battle. Remember this warlord. Remember this battle. And that's all it was.
Yeah.
So they go see the head man of the village. He's basically the elder. He's the oldest person in the village, and he says, "Well,
How could we tell?
he says, well, we need to hire samurai to protect us then, because he said I've seen it done before." And he's like, "But what do we have to offer?" He said, "Food." This is a
Right.
great part of
Hmm.
the writing here, right?
Yeah.
So he says, "We only have food to offer," and he's like, "Well, what kind of samurai is going to want to do that?" And he says, "Find hungry samurai."
Hungry samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's so many quotes from this movie that are more, I want to say, like, but they're kind of wisdom. And
And the reason that works is because these samurai, because their feudal lords have been displaced or dead, they either weren't told to or chose not to kill themselves. Because even though
Mm.
that's socially it that the men committing seppuku with the Lord did occur, but not as widespread as some.
that didn't become more of the Bushido code, wasn't codified until after the war was over, and much later in the time
Yeah.
period. This was just like, hey, we want as many people to fight as we can, and whatever.
What you never had was, even though there are movies that depict this, you never had 50,000 men committing suicide when their warlord lost. It
No.
never happened.
Here's the
Because
other aspect of why samurai might fight for food as opposed to anything else. Because of their social standing, they and again, this was codified much later under Tokugawa to try to solidify things, but they weren't culturally allowed to do other stuff like run a business or do anything
Well,
like that unless it was managing an estate. That was about it. So, and also culturally, rank wise, in the hierarchy of society, it was, you had the daimyos and the lords, then you had the samurai. The next people in line were the farmers.
well,
Below
you
them
had
were the merchants, and
so
then below them were entertainers. If you were an entertainer, you were like the lowest of the low.
yeah,
Um,
the Western
Mm,
caste system, which India, China, there's some actually very okay, sidetrack. Uh, Basically, you had your nobility class, your warrior class, practice warrior, I should say, your your artisan class, your poor people class, and then your outcasts, so to speak, who did the jobs that were considered disgusting, like leather working and all that. Um, and the farmers here would have been in the working class. And then once you're into one of those castes, it's almost impossible to get out of it.
yeah,
You have to have like an act of heroism, like you'd have to save the daimyo's like save your daimyo's life and through some insane thing, like as depicted in Shogun when the pilot saved Tornaga when no one else would and became a samurai. Um, so you
the
have
the
to have. Oh, sorry.
the lowest of the caste system is called the buraku, basically, and there was actually laws to non-discriminatory laws that were made. I don't know how, like maybe 30 or 20, 30. I can't remember how many years ago, but they were until even recent times considered the lowest of the low. Buraku.
Yeah, those would be the outcasts who do the disgusting
yeah,
jobs like
right.
leather work
Yes.
and all
Yeah,
that.
like
Yep.
leather
Yep.
working or
Yep.
some forms of entertainer.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it all has its hierarchy, but traditionally, the farmer was a higher social rank than being a merchant,
Hmm.
because they were, they provided the food and things. Um, let's see, I'm trying to figure out what they're doing here. Oh, so they go to find samurai, and they go to a town, and they bring rice with them, but that's the last of their rice that they had
Yeah.
like hidden away or whatever, and that's what they're going to use. And so they get in here, and it's been a couple of days, and they can't find anybody. And there's some guys in here drinking and making fun of them and telling them, you might as well just go, off yourself because the life of a farmer sucks. And I don't know what those guys do for work. I think they just gamble.
Yeah, they're
Um,
just they just look
eh,
like they're gamblers. I mean,
gamblers.
if you go around like even modern day Japan, I was just in Osaka for a Comic Con, and I stayed at a place where it's basically like just all the people who come. They maybe work like a very like just regular job, but they just spend the most of their life just gambling. It's kind of
But
weird.
yeah, this is some
I guess
kind of
you see.
like barn slash flop house because there are
Yeah,
horses in here and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, and then this guy comes in and he wants to sell some leftover buns, but they don't have any money and they don't want to trade any rice. So these guys are basically making fun. So the whole thing is you get to see the dynamic of how downtrodden they are. There's a tug of war between them being hopeful and being in despair and like having to persevere. Uh, they run into a couple people that like this guy. He has a sword, but he's not. This is not really. He might have been a samurai once,
No,
but
he
he,
he
he's
tricked them and he ate all their food and drank all their sake.
right
So he just was a bum.
because he got in a fight gambling these guys, those guys, and they have a big guy with him that beat him up. And he came to him and said, "Hey, it was because I was hungry that I lost." And they were like, "What are you talking about? You had money to spend to gamble." So they're like, "Don't listen to him." So now they're just over here trying to figure out what to do. And they're talking about, going home and not going home. And they're arguing. And he says, "What are you going to do?" We're just, because they're like, "Let's just go back and beg for mercy." And he's like, "What? Are you going to give him your daughter?" because they're
Yeah.
going to ask for women and stuff, and he's like, no, because this one character, what's his name, um, Monzo, he has a daughter, and so he really wants to protect her.
She's like wealth to him, that kind of beauty.
Right? Yeah, her
I
name
mean,
is
that's something you
Gino.
could sell
Yeah,
off as stock almost.
right. Because if you married,
Like
you got a
a
dowry and all that
dowry.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Um, isn't it
Which we
weird
still
how so many different cultures did the same thing?
still do it here.
Well, the interesting thing is they're all derived from, I think, what's it called, the primordial culture that they think almost all from Central, like part where Africa meets Asia and Europe, Indo-European culture. Um, if you, they think there's a sort of primordial culture from maybe 10, 20, 30,000 years ago that all of our ancestors, because the language is like you can trace certain words back, like
Hmm.
in multiple languages that seem to have no connection, you know. But if you, but you can trace certain words back to you know, from let's say European words as far up to Asian words, they seem to have the same root, you know. So, so it would make sense that anything that benefits the survival of a people would be inherited by any peoples that succeed them, if you know what I mean.
Hmm. So this is where they get their kind of their big break. So they're washing up, and they see a commotion, and then they're like, "What's going on?" And this older man comes out, and he wants this monk to shave his head, and he got all these people looking. So this is the other thing: is this guy is a samurai, right? So he exudes poise, wisdom, a presence. What do they call that now? The kids are calling it aura farming. He he's got that about him. He's got an air about him that people uh, understand and respect. And everyone's like, "What do we do?" And they're all hanging around. So they're like, What's going on?" And they're like, "This bandit came, a thief, and he sold something." And he's like, "Well, why aren't y'all just rushing him?" So you have this younger guy. He's from a samurai family, and so think of him as kind of like a rich kid out on his own. Um, because he's from that family, he has means, basically. He was
Mm.
well educated, um, but he's now out in the world, like but he's really young. He's like 17 or 18 or something. Um, so he wants to know what's going on. And they said there's a bandit in there, and they're like, "Well, why don't you guys just rush in there and get him?" He's like, "We can't. He's got a little 7-year-old kid in there with him." And he's like, "Oh." So they're like, "Well, what are they going to do?" And they're like, "I don't know. This other guy has this plan to get him out of there." So, and what you what we skip to see is when he's getting ready to basically going to shave his head and pretend he's a monk, he cuts off his top knot, which
Mm.
that's not something that a samurai would really willingly do. So the fact that he does this really kind of shocks everybody. Um, and then he asks for 2 rice balls. So that's the mother of the child. She comes running out, all excited. But you can see everybody, watching him in awe.
You know, it's funny. Like, given how poor people were, we're like, wait a minute, you want 2 rice balls? Take them back. Take it back.
You can have the kid.
Yeah.
So here she gives it to him. Um,
So, one of the things that Nobunga and Tokugawa Ieyasu, after him, dealt with during this time period was originally the samurai were a warrior caste and did not expect to be like have the same privilege as the nobility, right? And over time, I want to say from 1200 to 14 or 1500, but it could be a little wider than that, or um, the samurai started to almost become another noble class, right? And or competing with the noble class. And this is what happened with any of these caste systems. As modern economics, which are driven by population density, take over, the need for these separate caste systems, whether you go with Western Europe, which has rich and poor, or you go with like Japan and Asia and all that, so the more traditional caste system, or driven by population, these old systems break down and the flaws become very inherent. You know what I mean?
so he kills this guy with like one. He rushes in and grabs him and kills him. and then he quietly gives back his stuff to the priest. Now you have this other character who's very rambunctious and kind of boastful, and he doesn't really say a lot so much, but just the way he acts. But he, compared to a lot of other Japanese people, he's very big and imposing physically.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, he
he's kind of
killed
he's
the took the sword from the thief and killed him with it.
right.
Mhm.
But okay, so now this guy is impressed by this samurai, and he wants to basically become a disciple. He wants to
Yeah.
be, to be taught by him. And then see the farmers see this guy and they're like, this is the kind of guy we want
Yeah.
to help us. Because if he helped that kid and shaved his head, then he will definitely probably help us out. Uh yeah. But they're trying to get up the nerve to ask him. And then so this guy, uh he is Kikuchiyo is his name. It's Toshiro Mifune plays him. Um he is he's like comic relief, like a buffoon, but also he has some very he's a deeper character than he first appears.
Mm.
So this is when Katsushiro asks to become his disciple so that he can learn from him. And then he just walks up, but he doesn't say anything. So he like wants to be around him and maybe learn from him, but he doesn't really know how to ask. And so this is what he says. He's like, look, I can't talk to you like I want to talk to you like a normal person. Get up off the ground so we can talk. Like he's not interested in people fawning all over him and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
Doing all
probably
these
not used to it.
honoristics and
No, probably
stuff.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he said, hey, we'll walk as we talk.
Well, another thing too, I don't know if this is if I'm correct about this or not, but like the whole the you know the elites have a certain way of speaking, and when you start speaking, you're going to out yourself as being kind of an ignorant person. Uh, so probably the less you speak, the more you would be able to convince people that you're a samurai.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Um, but he says, look, I don't have the means to travel with an attendant because the expectation would be is if you become a subordinate to a samurai is they have to provide you with an income and whatever. And he's like, so, you know, uh, that was how the whole system was based
Mhm.
is especially feudalism is you had the lord who then had a vassal who then had a vassal who then had a vassal who then all the way down to the lowest ranked peasant, but there was an expectation of labor from the peasant, but the peasant was also expected to gain protection and other things from the lord. That was the whole point of that relationship. um so yeah, here he is, he comes up and is talking to him, and he's like, what do you want? But he doesn't really say anything because I guess he doesn't really know how to articulate it.
Yeah. And he doesn't have a katana. He's got a.
No
I can't
dashi.
remember what they're called.
It's
Cleaver.
it's a
Yeah,
no dashi.
it's a bigger. He's
Yeah.
got a dagger.
Katana just means sword. I think
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
just.
Right.
I believe it's called a no dashi.
No dash. Yeah,
right.
that's
Yeah,
no dash.
it's just a bigger version
Yeah,
of it.
bigger sword.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's a little one compared to some real life ones.
yeah. Well,
Well,
that's
there's. I
because
mean,
that's almost like a pole arm, basically.
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah.
once you start
Well,
getting
most
size.
historically speaking, most two-handed swords, like great swords, I should say, were used like pole arms, not like swords.
Yeah. So he's like, hey, just ignore him. He's trouble.
So then they run out, and then, uh, asking for help. So getting on the ground like that and kind of doing the I can't remember what it's called.
Groveling.
Well, no, there's a particular Japanese name for that type of bow, uh, and sitting in that position. But it's
Seiza.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's the most honorific way that you can,
Mm.
ask somebody for something, um, and to show that you're respect and humble and whatever by doing that. To the point where this is a while ago, but when I was living in Japan, there was some scandal or something, and
Hmm.
one of like the chief of police got caught up in something, and
Oh
when he
yeah,
went out to make his apology to the crowd, he wound up doing that on the steps of the Capitol building or whatever
yeah,
they worked, to like say he was sorry to the public,
right.
um, which you really don't see people do that much anymore. That means that they're very contrite and asking for forgiveness if they do that. Um, because
Yeah,
that's the only time I've actually ever seen that in like real life. I mean, it was on
people
TV,
don't
but
want to
still.
take the blame for things nowadays.
Well, no, what I'm talking about is making an apology in that manner.
Mm.
I've seen them bow very low,
Oh,
but
okay.
never do that where they get on the ground like that.
At first, he's not gonna do it
He
until
asks, right.
he hears that they've been eating millet seed
And
and
it, and
giving
it,
them
it's
rice.
kind of the irony is the guy the that was in the gambler is the one that kind of brings that to their senses. It's like, hey, look, this is the guy that was kind of like a I don't know, you almost saw him as like kind of an antagonist at the beginning. He uh he gets the samurai to see just how dire straits they are,
Right. Because
which
he
is
asks
cool.
them, like, because
Yeah.
he asks, okay, where's your village? How many, villagers? Is there hills, like, with mountains in the back? You said there are mountains in the back. Can horses pass over it? And they're like, yes. And he's like, oh, that's bad. And then he's like, what about this? Is there, what about these fields? They tell him, he's like, oh, that's bad. So he's like, yeah, I don't think I can do it. And this guy, this is right here. He says, look, they want to feed you rice, but you know what they eat? They eat millet. And have you ever had millet? It's terrible
Yeah.
and all this. So this guy's kind of an a-hole to him, but he's almost like, I'm trying to figure out like what kind of character he is. He he's he's a way of doing like um what do you call that? They love to do it in movies these days. Uh,
Yeah,
Exposition?
exposition, right?
Yeah.
He's a way of doing exposition and passing information on in the movie without actually, it's not a bad way of doing it.
Mm.
That's the kind of purpose of his character.
yeah. But he's doing it in a way that's look how uh, stupid these people are.
Right, exactly. How bad their life is, and
Yeah,
I'm glad he says it multiple times. "Oh, I'm glad I was never born a peasant. you know, um,
But by saying that, it actually makes the samurai almost feel sorry for them.
right. And
yeah,
you can
Yeah.
see how pathetic they look.
Maybe he was
Um,
manipulating them.
yeah. So, but he finally understands like what it is that they're willing. They're not even eating rice just to try to save their village. They have
yeah.
nothing. So this is when he decides that he'll help them.
He's like, we're not going to let this rice go to waste.
Right.
Well, which is funny because it turns out that millet, because white rice eventually became white rice when they took away the shell and all that, and white rice is less healthy for you than millet is.
It is that
Yep,
is correct.
yep,
Yeah, but millet doesn't, fill you up as much, and it,
No, no, that's a let's say the cult of the white carb, like flour, grain, all that.
yeah,
That they decided, I don't know, around in the 1900s that it was healthy for you worldwide when it wasn't, and we're all fat because of it. Um, Millet was a staple crop in the Ottomans in Western Europe, not in West Central Europe, parts of Africa. It was, I mean, wheat and all that are better grains, but um, it was nothing. there's nothing bad about it. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
an easy to grow crop that there
I
are.
think its translation into millet is basically just the husks of the rice. There's no kernel in it. Um, it's just the outer shell is what they're eating. Uh, but with the translation, they say millet
Oh, okay.
because I guess they don't really have a good example for it. Because if it's just brown rice, well then that's not bad. I like brown rice. So the two guys, they sent two back to the village to tell him, "Hey, we found a samurai. We're getting the ball rolling." And he comes in and he says, "We're gonna get 7, and you told us 4." And he's like, "Yeah, but if I would have said 10, you would have ended up with 15." So, because that's how these things work. Which again is part of the wisdom of this older guy. Uh, and it's true. How often does stuff like that work out, especially if you have a woman in your life? Um, I'm only I'm only going to go in and get this real quick. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
famous last words.
Exactly. You're going to wander the store until you find a bunch of stuff we don't need.
A lifetime later.
Hmm. But he knows this. So, um,
Yeah, this is
oh, and then he's talking
I'm
about
worried.
what about the women? Like if the
Yeah,
samurai touch him, it all hell break loose.
he's just
Village
worried about
girls
his
go
daughter.
crazy over the samurai. Yeah,
Well, this is kind of foreshadowing.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, they're not wrong.
no, I'm sure knights did the same thing, eh?
Yeah, but you know what I mean. You ride up on
Yeah.
and this is okay. This is another good thing. All you can think of are your whiskers when your head is on the chopping block. That's another good kind of like proverb or adage or something. Um, Again, a piece of wisdom. So now they're looking for more samurai.
I like this. They're like, oh, that one. He's like, here, take this stick and hide behind the door.
Right. The real samurai won't he won't like let himself get hit.
Now, would have been interesting if this had been recorded in color, because the samurai, true to the proper aesthetic, would have been trying to keep themselves clean even in that dirty environment.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah, plus also their clothes would be very colorful.
you can see that the outfits the samurai are wearing
Mhm.
are better kept than that
Right.
of the people around
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. So obviously didn't get hit, so he has some skill and he says, "Forgive me." Where we don't have a lot of time to get to know people. We need to make sure that they know, what they're doing. And he says, "Yeah, we only sought to test your skill." Which also back then, having your name be attached to like great deeds was a big thing.
Mm.
Your name had a lot of, and your personal honor meant a lot, much more than I think it does today. Um,
Yeah. So this guy won't fight unless there's like
yeah, he's like, I
title
have higher
and
higher aspirations than fighting for farmers
yeah,
for food.
if it changes his rank, he'll only fight for his
Right.
rank.
Yeah.
So
So there's a reason um, why Kanbei Shimada has decided to help them. Another thing is that you find out throughout the progression is that every side that he's ever been on has been a losing side. Um, every every lord that he served, every battle he's been in, has always been on the losing side, and so he's managed to like escape or whatever. So I think he took this on because he sees it as something worthwhile. All his other fights have been futile, and this one isn't. So he picks this guy out of all the guys walking by. That's the other thing is all the guys that are walking by are pretty like manly looking guys. The samurai are.
Also, Shieldwall, in regards to what we said about the fight, all his previous fights would have been serving a daimyo or a high ranking
Right.
samurai,
Yes.
all of whom did fights he may have found distasteful, but he had a duty. Now he's choosing a fight where
Mm.
um, which fits his more moral tone. And
Right.
True.
yeah,
True.
That's really good, James.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just yeah, it's a beautiful movie. I mean, we haven't even gotten to talk like the cinema. Well, I mean, we could go into those aspects later, I guess, but just a beautifully shot film.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah, you can go ahead and talk about that. That's
Oh no, I'll leave it. You guys' vernacular is much better than mine.
well, even this is in 1953, I guess,
yeah,
correctly. So the 1950s Japan, um, late 40s to this period, they were establishing themselves again post-war
Hmm.
industry, post-war culture, and you can see if you watch a lot of these movies, um, a common visual aesthetic to them, right? Use of shadows, use of camera angles, and all that. And I think they were establishing a tone with the cinematography and also direction, not so much like the acting direction, but the plot direction, how the people move and everything. Notice how, for example, from an angle, go back, Jacob. Or Shieldwall, right here. When the people come to the doorway, right,
Yeah.
the guy, even though we're looking at him on an angle, he appears almost dead center in the doorway, right? And
True.
that traffic flow direction. So the director's like, okay, go to this mark. You can kind of see the actor looking where the mark is on the floor. Um, like be in this mark. So when I take that side angle shot, you still look like you're framed, and I can see the guy next to you with space between you. Like
Hmm.
the whole thing is set up very interesting visual technique, and you'll see this in this time period's Japanese movies.
so this guy's, just notices a shadow and doesn't even go in the door.
Because as far as he knows, he could be getting robbed.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you look at the frame where he's walking up down the street, Katsuhiro stuck his head out. I think he saw him uh, peek his head out real quick because he wasn't that far down the street,
yeah.
and the shadow too. So there's multiple, you know. So he saw that, then he saw the shadow and be like, "Oh, this guy must be up to something." So he won't go in, and he says, "Hey, you guys are up to something." And he's like, "Oh, this guy's smart." So he brings him in,
Let's try to recruit him.
right?
So he's like, "Yep, I'll join you."
Yeah, and he says not because he wants to help the farmer, but because he finds he finds Kambe intriguing,
Yeah.
Yeah,
which again is that magnetism of personality and and air of authority that he has. Um, that he definitely, you see him as a leader immediately. Sometimes you meet people like that in life, where
Hmm.
you
yeah.
Mhm.
immediately can tell that that person is a leader, and at least under first
Well,
impression, maybe they're a person you can
another thing
follow.
too, he also appears to be one of the smarter ones,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and you often find that people like that, they tend to want to ride certain adventures out simply because they're like, well, everything else, when especially the way that in these Japanese stories are written, it's well, this won't be boring. Um, there's adventure here. It was like this actually might be something worthwhile because this person is worth following. Those type of stories tend to follow people, with that type of greatness and that ability to lead. And it was like, and you can tell he's a smarter character just because from that smile, he recognizes that immediately. I really enjoy that. He's actually probably one of my more favorite characters in the film.
Hmm. Hmm. The other thing is up to this point in the movie. So this might look a little slow while we're talking about it and then going through it. But by this point in the movie, you're actually invested in: are they going to find the samurai? Who are they going to be? What's going to happen? And the meantime, there's other drama going on while this is happening. Um, so they're cooking the food for the samurai, and this guy was like, "All the rice got stolen. I slept holding it, and it still got stolen. What are we going to do?" And now they are truly screwed.
Yeah.
And
The
and
protege.
and
Throws in some.
Rikichi
Oh yeah,
says,
yeah,
"I'll just go back to the village," and he's like,
yeah,
"But what are we going to feed him in the meantime?" And they're totally screwed, and so they sit
yeah.
down and they're dejected, and you don't ever really see Kikichi cry at all. He's more, he's like kind of the alpha of the village people. Um, however that came out. And then this guy is not, he's very timid and meek, but um, so he starts trying to pick up the single grains. Maybe they can make a cup of rice out of it or something.
And you can tell that they're not the rice that we're familiar with. It's a little
Right.
bit smaller
And
Yeah,
his name is
variety of it.
Yohei, that character. Um, this character
Damn
here.
it, I had myself muted. As soon as you said the village people, I started singing the song.
But
But they have a song called Seven Samurai.
So I was working. No,
um, another thing too that we haven't really discussed, especially for an older film, this has a pretty large cast.
Yeah, it
Um,
does.
Mm,
just not the samurai themselves, but the whole village, and then the bandits. Although you don't get to know the bandits very well, it's still you can still see like an established hierarchy of who's running it and who's
right,
uh
right. Yeah, there are two guys that you know are the leaders. I mean, one of them has an eye patch, so that's a dead giveaway.
absolutely
He's
absolutely.
well,
a
this would
he's a bad guy.
He also has nicer armor
Yeah.
than
Yep.
yeah,
this was in a time period in Japan when, much like Hollywood, the majority of actors worked for the same company and just shuffle from set to set to play most of these roles. You know, only the big name actors kind of got like exclusivity, if you know what I mean. Whereas if you were like um, Bob Sato Jr., who you might have been in 17 movies in 2 weeks as Peasant Farmer number 4, Peasant Farmer number 7, Butcher number 2. You know what I mean? Like, and you just gave you assignment, say be on these sets, this day, same place, and they'll give you the outfit you need or whatever.
So this is an important character because he used to fight with alongside Kambe,
mm,
and he's like, "Hey, I thought you were dead." And
yeah.
he's
yeah.
like, "How did you get away?" And he's like, "Well, I hid in the moat of the castle, and then the burning wall fell on me, and I thought I was dead, but I got away." And he's like, "Well, what did you think about when that was happening?" He was like, "Nah, not much.
No, yeah,
Just
fine.
didn't really."
I'm,
And he got out.
I got
But so, but he doesn't really look like a samurai as much, like with what he wears and stuff, because I guess he's tired of war.
Well,
But
also he's become like kind of a merchant. He's dressed like a merchant,
right,
so
and yeah,
he's probably took that up just to make money. Make ends meet.
right. To have a means to live. Um, but he immediately joins me like, "Hey, if you're gonna join, then yeah, I'll join you, because I know you, and you wouldn't be joining this if it wasn't worthwhile." Plus, he's a good character.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
also, you're not allowed to jump ship, so to speak, from your cast. Like if they wanted to suddenly, even being a samurai might suck, food or whatever. If they want to become like a farmer or an artisan or something, they can't just do that.
Right.
They could get killed doing that. Actually,
Yeah, he kind of dabbles in it, I guess, in a way. But when you're a Ronin, you're already that's kind of like not very you know what I mean? That's all kind of that makes you a lower class samurai basically.
yeah.
Right.
So right now they've got two samurai, including Kanbei, and they're not really counting Katsushiro because he's so young.
Yeah,
He
they keep
Yeah,
basically
calling
has
him
no
young
training.
fish.
Yeah. Although that's not
battlefield.
true, because if you're a samurai, a samurai's child, you should have been training from the time you were about
Oh
6.
yeah, he's trained. He's just never seen a battle before.
Yeah, he's
Right.
just
Yeah,
green.
Yeah,
he's very green.
yeah. But he should know. He should know like calligraphy, the tea ceremony, like a whole bunch of other stuff. Although that might
Yeah.
actually be later. But I don't know if that was like a thing in this point where it
plus
was
if you're
set in stone.
it was because they're raised. But anyway,
Yeah,
if you're a young samurai like that and you're running, someone's gonna say, "Wait a minute, what did you mess up, or what did whoever you were serving mess up? You're running at like 20 or whatever." You know?
I think he might have just been such a younger son that he could like get away with just kind of wandering around doing whatever he
No,
wanted.
that wouldn't have been kosher.
Yeah, I don't know.
Believe me, he would
Maybe
have been.
he escaped the palace and like Jasmine.
If nothing else, as a younger son, he would have been married off to some distant economic samurai or family for
Right.
sake of
So you're saying he just wouldn't be free to kind of wander the town.
You're not. I mean, and the way the caste system works, and like, he would get reported. Like if he were a samurai stepping outside of being a samurai, the peasants would report him. There wouldn't be a matter of like because they don't want them interfering on like they don't want samurai interfering on peasant business and vice versa. You know,
Yeah.
that's people kill. Because Japan was an extreme case of this caste system. It was worse than India. If you know about the history of the caste system, Japan was worse than India. You know,
So this guy's like, he's saying, "Oh, you chop that wood pretty good," and he's like, "You should see me chop down men." He's like, "Have you chopped down many?" He's like, "That I
It's like
have."
you do it with such vigor.
And he's like, "But I do make sure to try and run away first."
So he tries to recruit him because he likes him. He thinks that he will be good to have in a dark moment, like this guy's positive attitude about things, and he's pragmatic. Like, well, I'll just run away and to fight another day. And
especially with his limited
kind of a
resources.
that was kind of a thing during this period. Is a lot of people would change sides quite easily.
Hmm.
Um, if it benefited them. So it wasn't quite as, like I said, the code of Bushido wasn't quite as like set in stone and codified solidly like it became, and it became much more stricter after Tokugawa took over and the preceding centuries after that. Um, to where you get like, to where it is kind of like what everybody thinks it is today. It was a little
Well,
more loosey goosey back then, because there wasn't a solidified ruling power. So it was to your benefit to change sides if it was, if you could gain something out of it.
Tokugawa Ieyasu, as part of consolidation of power, um, transformed Japanese structure, social structure, put in place institutions, all sorts of stuff to solidify the power transfer from him to his nephew or whatever it was.
Right.
You know, um, there's a lot of interesting history that I'm not going to get into about that time period, but like so, a lot of Japanese cultural institutions that exist today are stuff that Ieyasu essentially planted back then. You know,
Right. Right. And there was a guy before him that actually uh, controlled Japan, and he
Nobunga,
said, "Yeah, no, what was his name? The other guy?
Oda
Um,
Nobunga.
no, the guy in the Shogun when he died. In Shogun, he died, and what
That's
was
funny enough. I think it was like Nobungo or whatever. They only changed.
Nobunaga.
Yeah,
there was a different guy.
they only changed like one letter in his name from Shogun for from.
Torunaga.
That guy was the one that made it harder. So he made it harder, but that was not in this period that we're in the movie right now. Uh, so it was a little bit, yeah, things were a little different. It was more Wild West, I guess, is what I'm saying. Um, so they come and they see another group of people, and they're at like this old temple or something. This thing's really run down, um, which could happen because of warfare. You know, could have been looted or whatever, and so they're going to see a duel between two guys with bamboo sticks, and it looks like a draw. But then this one guy's like, the guy on the left here is like, "No, I would have won." And this guy's like, "What? I'm Let's fight with my sword then." And he's like, "But you'll die." And he's
Yeah.
like, "Nah, I want to do it." And this guy, you could tell he's like he wants to be like the man, but he kind of is scared of him. Because look
Yeah.
at this guy. He's very cool, calm, doesn't say very much at all.
Love
Doesn't
this guy.
show any emotion. Yeah. This character's name is. Let's see.
Cos.
Um,
He
he
is
is
Kyuzo?
Kuzio.
Kuzo.
Yeah, yeah.
Kuzo.
A serious, stone-faced, and supremely skilled swordsman. Yep, and he has a scar above one eye. Yeah, see, and he just like one shots him.
Yep.
Yep, he 360 no scoped him.
Yep, pretty much.
And Kanbei has already called it before it happens. He's like, he's got him.
Right, he said, "Yeah,
No
this guy's gonna
contest.
kill him,"
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
knew. So now he's like, "Oh, this dude is a really good sword fighter."
Let's get him.
Yeah. But they say they talked to him, but he decided not to. But he's like, "But we told him where we're staying just in case."
Yeah.
Like as far as skills go, this guy's got skills more than anybody else on the team. This is your Lancelot.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is another
Right.
guy they found.
This is the guy that was chopping wood.
Yeah, chopping wood.
Yeah.
Yep. Heihachi.
Heihachi.
Kind of like the guy from what fighting game was that?
Oh, his stepson was the main character. Dead or Alive?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know if it's Dead or Alive. It's an older game. But yeah. Anyway,
Hiyachi
there
was
was
a
a
big
guy.
corporate owner.
Yeah, yeah. He had the weird hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his son was Jin, and Jin could transform into a demon. I think it's Dead or Alive.
I like this part. He's like,
Yeah.
I was once your age.
Your age too, and yeah, you have big plans. You're going to become the lord of your own castle. But Matt makes a good point. It never just explains like how this guy's just walking around on his own.
By the way, the guy, the character he's mentioned here, Hiyachi, whatever his last name is, he's played by one of my favorite actor in a Godzilla movie. I don't remember his full Japanese name, but it's almost like Minato.
You're talking about Katsushiro?
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
Heihachi.
let's see.
Minoru Chiaki.
Yeah, Minoru.
He played
I've got
in Godzilla Raids Again. He played Kobayashi, who was the most heroic character in the movie. I've watched Godzilla Raids Again more than any Godzilla movie, of any of it. So whenever I see him, I get like a thrill, like a cheap buzz, I guess you would say. He did like many of these actors. He was also in a bunch of Kurosawa films as well. But I know from Godzilla Raids Again, which you also go watch.
So he tells the young guy, you need to go home tomorrow. And then the other guys, one of the peasant guys and other samurai kind of stick up for him. The funny guy's like, actually, the young people work more. You just got to treat them like an adult.
And by the way, all the actors for the Seven Samurai are long dead. I think they all died in 1995 or something like that.
Yeah, even the young guy, he died in 1981. He was only 58 when he died.
Oh wow!
Wow, because he was
Here's
born in 1923.
If you look at the life expectancy of people back then, that's living a nice, fruitful age.
Yeah.
There's actually a ceremony that we have here. It's called Kanreki, and when you turn 60, it's like a huge celebration because not many people turn 60 years old. So you dress all up in red, and they have a big, huge celebration. Even though life expectancy is a lot more than that nowadays, back in the days, living up to 60 was a huge achievement. Yeah.
Well, now Japan has some of the oldest people in the whole world living there.
I think it's the second in the world. There's like one strange island, I think, that's ahead of them. But I think it's second in the world, if I'm not mistaken.
I know Okinawa has like a really high percentage of people over 100 years old.
I think Bali has a high one too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who wouldn't like kicking it on?
The unibrow guy here.
Yeah, this guy and he's got like I don't know if that's real. Like his face has hair on it, up on his cheeks.
Think it looks fake. It looks like this
does
is
look fake. Yeah.
kind of like
He,
a
he looks like he's
jester
from
of
Team
sorts.
America trying to infiltrate the.
Yeah.
It maybe looks like some kind of paint he's put on his face to make it look like he's got a beard.
Yeah. I mean, he could just be really dirty.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of like a weird bum gambler
And
dude.
he's like, I found the samurai. He's really
He is
good.
a weird bum.
Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, we were drinking and we found the strongest samurai. It's a true samurai. So they bring
He's
him
like,
in, and then
hey,
he's
let's
like,
do
hey,
the same thing
do the
again.
same test, and he beats him over the head, and he's like, ow.
Yeah. He is. Well, yeah, they said it was like no samurai would, let himself get drunk enough to let his senses be dulled to where he couldn't pass this test. And well,
Apparently it didn't work this time.
no.
What the hell?
He doesn't he doesn't get like bonked and go like, oh, I can't believe I let that happen. He goes down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
And he is, and when they're saying like, oh no samurai would let himself get this drunk, he is immensely drunk.
Yeah. I mean, he's seeing 3 of that guy right now.
Yeah. Oh, and his physical acting in this too, the
yeah,
way he
yeah.
like scuttles over to show him the parchment, and just a lot of his acting is just very, very good. Actually, his physical acting throughout the entire movie is something to behold.
Yeah, it is. His physical acting in general in anything he's in.
Yeah.
Physical acting used to be a skill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
This is like, oh, this is really funny. You'd now be precisely 13 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of cool. The like the swordsman guy, really good one. It's like, can see how this is gonna go. So he just grabs his sword and hands it
Yeah.
off to the young dude.
It's a smart move.
Also, his character. I don't know if you guys are in the anime, but his what is his Kikuchoyo or
Chio. Chio.
Kichiyo.
Uh,
Very much like Inosuke Hashibara from Demon Slayer, kind of.
Well, the archetype of this character
Yeah.
is something Mifune perfected, so to speak.
Right. Oh, you're talking about the guy with the pig helmet?
Yeah.
He's talking about
Yeah.
the guy that Toshiro Mifune is playing.
Yeah. He's very much like that guy, where he's boastful, and he's like, yeah, I'm going to be the first in everything, and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
The epitome of this character, by the way, is in Yojimbo.
I love Yojimbo.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was gonna use that tonight. I was gonna fall asleep to that movie, just because, like, once you get in certain movies like this, nothing else will quite do. You're not just gonna be like, oh well, I'll just maybe throw on Bring It On, and
So this is Monzo, and he's always the one talking about, what if the samurai see the girls? So he's like, I'm going to you need to cut off your hair and dress like a boy.
oh yeah,
And she's
Yeah.
like, what? No. So he chases her out into the street where she's barely, got her top on, and chases her around, and, then brings her back in. So you don't actually have to watch him cut her hair. Which
also, did anybody else go like, that's dangerous?
it is. He's got a
Yeah.
straight razor.
Yeah.
by the way, for those who are listening, Yojimbo is was the precursor to Clint Eastwood's A Fistful of Dollars, which was the first of the spaghetti westerns with
Right.
Sergio Leone. So
Yeah, and the Magnificent Seven is obviously
Seven Samurai.
directly,
Yeah.
taken off of Seven Samurai. There's also a movie called The Hidden Fortress, which is really good.
Mhm.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. A
Kurosawa
lot of
has made
people think Star Wars is based off of it.
Yeah, C-3PO, especially C-3PO and R2-D2s.
Yes.
right.
well, Lucas decided Kurosawa as his primary influence as a director.
Mhm.
So, and there's a reason that when you name your 5 greatest directors of all time, you should name Kurosawa in them. He's
Yep.
never
Oh,
made a
for
bad
sure.
movie. Like there are 2 directors, by the way, who you could argue never made a bad movie. Him and Kurosawa and Hitchcock. Not that every movie is great, but there's no badly put together
Yeah, there's not a stinker in the bunch.
like no
Yeah.
shoddy film working technique. You know what I mean? Where
Right.
like he just drew it in for a check or whatever. You know?
Right. Phoning it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely can't say that about anybody now.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Even Ridley Scott, man, what happened to him?
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
And
Too
James
soon.
Cameron's
Too
like,
soon.
I'm going to make 7 more Avatar movies. And we're like, no one cares.
No, no.
Not at all.
Didn't care about.
And nobody wants to come out to meet him.
Oh, I took this. I forgot about this part. And from the look of the samurais and just how it is, it was like the complete and utter disrespect. Like they knew that they were sending these guys out to go get help. They did like a call letting them know they were going to come back, scared to even look their saviors in the eye.
And this is a good example of like how cops are treated and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where you don't like them and you're scared of them until you need them, right?
Yep.
Even though you're the ones that are paying for them.
Roman, not everything has Mothra in it, okay?
Much to our chagrin.
Yeah, I know. Where is Mothra?
I would say that's the one thing missing from this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mothra. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta have the
Yeah.
two miniature ladies that are in
Yeah.
like a little
Matara.
like fishing box or something. Sing. That box they come out in that one movie reminds me of my grandfather's tackle box.
Yeah.
So they go see the old man again.
Somehow looks older.
Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
they're like, well,
They were gone that long.
yeah. But he tells him, farmers live by fear. They fear, is it going to rain? Is there going to be enough sun? Will the harvest come in? Will it be a
Samurai
cold
touched
winter?
my daughter.
Exactly. And he says, see, he says, I know they're being foolish. Whether the rain falls, the sun shines, or the wind blows. See, this is what they live by fear. Yeah, their behavior. But old man, why would do the villagers fear us? Because forced labor, war, all this kind of stuff. So then they hear an alarm go off, like somebody's hitting a wooden thing. Like,
I love this scene.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this goes and shows that that the character of Kikuchiyo really knows the farmers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there's a deeper understanding of his character has more depth than what you would first think. He's a lot smarter than people think he is.
Yeah, no, they chalk him up, or they write him off as a buffoon.
Right.
But the more you see him in practice, you realize that he just doesn't march to he just marches to the beat of a different drummer, and he
Yeah.
actually does have value. And this too, it's so in character too, just how boisterous he is.
Right.
Going
And
like,
and he's funny. He can get the extras to laugh,
Yep.
right?
Hmm.
And yeah, but yeah, he's definitely on his Sigma grind set.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
Well, another thing too is like even with the size of the sword he's carrying, it makes him look like he's like some kind of brute.
Right,
But
Yeah.
there's more to him than just his masculine
right, right.
masculinity or what have you.
Yeah, and his actual size is pretty big for your average Japanese person.
Yes. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
So
Well, and it's almost as he does use it to his advantage. He
Hmm.
would have you believe that he was
Yeah.
only those things, because it gives him the upper hand. If you're just going to treat him like a dumb brute, well, that's fine. That's not actually what you get here. And no, I like this too. When the elder approaches him.
I said
right,
nope.
because he's like, "What's the problem?" And he's like, "Is there a problem?" And he's like, "Nope," because
Nope.
he's like, "You guys are all. We don't want to come out and greet them, but now that the alarm is here, it's like, oh, samurai, help me, samurai, help me." And then the other thing is that when they got the alarm, they're all panicking, grabbing at the samurai, help us. And but Kambe gets up on that rock and he's like, "All right, calm down, everybody. Who saw the bandits? What direction are they coming from?" And and then it's like CNN reporting, "Oh, the east. No, I mean the west."
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say the first thing that I hear and then call it a fact. But then that's when Kikuchi comes out and says, "No, it was me, and I pulled a fast one on you guys to, But now everybody wants to, where the samurai at?" So
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, Rikichi gives them their house gives them his house to stay in, and then he finds this kimono, and he's like, "Huh, this is pretty nice." He's like, "You should get yourself a wife or something," and he just grabs it from him and puts it away, and he's all mad about it. And he says, "I don't have a wife," and so they're like, "Huh, what's under this guy's skin?" And then and he even throws like a sandal at him because
yeah.
he got it's kind of funny, but they're all wondering what why he's acting this way. And he's been surly the whole time. So then they draw a map of the village and they walk around. And what's great about the movie is it takes the viewer through the defenses. This is this road to the west, I think, or east maybe. And so we're going to need to build a wall here, and this is what we're going to have to do. And as they go through it, and they get the farmers to do a lot of the labor, and also the farmers are going to have to help fight because they just can't. Seven Samurai ain't going to cut it against like 40 guys on horses.
Well, it's like that Clint Eastwood movie, like The Pale Rider.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
or is it no? Is it The High Plains Drifter? Whatever the one is where he's teaching town how to defend themselves. It's like the old proverb: if you teach a man to fish, you know
He'll eat for a
he'll eat
day.
for the rest of his life. No, if you give a man a fish, he'll eat
He'll
for a
eat
day.
for a day.
Teach him how to
Yeah.
fish. Yeah,
Yep.
you know. But it's you have to have some skin in the game, or they're just going to come back after we leave. Even if we kill them all, there's going to be people who know that was like, hey, all you have to kind of do is go to this farming town and beat your chest, and they'll just give you whatever they got. Like
Mm.
you got
The
to have a
Pale
little bit of
Rider.
yourself.
He's
Is it
definitely
Bell Rider?
no, because he plays a minister in Pale Rider with a
Oh, that's
hangman's
right. That's
mark.
right.
Pale Rider is what many consider to be an unofficial sequel to Hang 'Em High.
I
A little
love
bit.
Hang 'em High
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That's
So,
good.
so I think
When
you
you
talk about
hang
High
a man,
Plains.
you look at him.
So, and the reason that, obviously spears are cheap to make out of bamboo, but they're also extremely effective. And they're probably one of the least training intensive weapons
Yeah.
that you can get to York effectively in mass. Like one on one, you're fighting a guy with a sword with a spear, you might be able to beat him, but if you're an untrained peasant against a samurai, you're going to lose. But if you have 10 guys all pointing spears at you, there isn't a whole lot you can really do against that if you're a single person. Um, so it's extremely, uh, it's like a force multiplier and effective, and it gives you a lot of reach too, especially if
Mhm.
you're going up against people with horses and you catch them in a gap, it makes it really effective, which is the whole point of why they can defend this whole village. And they have enough manpower too. That's the other thing. You get every man in the village or old enough person to be able to wield it. You can put up an effective defense.
Well, the whole thing with the spirit's always the distance becomes a skill in of its own. Same way
Mhm.
size becomes a skill of its own. You know, if you can keep the distance and kill them with the 10 spears, maybe use one of your peasants, but the trained soldier goes down. You know?
Right, exactly. So they're like, okay, all these buildings across this river are going to have to be abandoned, including the mill where the old guy lives. Um, and here's the other thing: is the amount of time that they have is the barley will be after they do their initial assessment. They've probably been there a day already, maybe two. Then they ask him how long is it going to take you to harvest. He said about the harvest will be ready in 10 days. It'll take us 3 days to harvest. Then we have to clear the fields and another after that to flood it to their plan. Um, so they've got kind of a lot of time before the bandits show up. So they have time to train and build defenses like walls and stuff and make like moats and stuff.
Yeah, he's got all these guys here, and they're like, all have their bamboo spear, except one guy. One guy's got an actual spear. It's
Right.
like, where did you get this?
That's Yohei, and he shows up with the spear,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Well, I got it." He's like, "Where the hell did you get it?" We hunted you hunted down retreating warriors and took their weapons. So that was the other thing. So there's a lot of warfare, right? So warriors on the losing side, they might even be injured, would try to be moving through the area, and these guys, the farmers, would kill them and take all their stuff because
Mm-hmm.
it's worth a lot of money, like all their armor.
Yeah.
Because the armor's not cheap.
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah,
No, it's usually passed through families, and
right.
it's not.
Yeah, but obviously that spear is much better to have than just a piece of sharpened bamboo. Although you'd be surprised how sharp a piece of sharpened bamboo can actually be.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
they
Oh,
use
yeah.
it all the time in Nam,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
punji sticks.
Right, right. And they're pretty solid if you get the right kind.
Yeah, we actually last night at our community center, like whatchamacallit? My gosh, I forgot English. The festival that we had, we made lanterns out of bamboo, and it took us a long time to do it.
Oh, I thought
Oh,
you
yeah.
were
It's
going
like,
to say you fought off bandits with bamboo spears.
Yeah.
no, that would have been fun.
Like a Civil War reenactment.
Right. So then now they're on the north side, and this is like the more open. So it'll be hard to defend. I think he says something like this whole thing will become like a death bowl.
Well, he says it's a nice meadow. It's
Right.
also a death trap.
Yeah, it's a death trap. Yeah. And so this is when he's
it's
like,
the spot where they want to funnel them all in.
right. Yeah, they want to funnel them all in here.
Oh, thanks for the wrench, Jake.
Yeah.
So, but there's like a little shrine, kind of like nature. If you ever
Mhm.
played like, um, oh, what was
Ghost
the
of
game?
Tsushima.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. They had the little fox shrines you could go find.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of like hidden away. And if you go into the mountains of Japan, even today in certain areas, it's still very beautiful like this, and there's no
Yeah,
people. It's not all built up and trashed. Um,
that's exactly it is right behind my house right here.
yeah, yeah.
Oh
And,
my
and it's
God.
amazing
Wow.
is that you can go
Nice.
up roads like up in the mountains, and there'll be like a little statue on the side of the road that
Hmm.
has literally been there since the 1200s, and
Yep.
nobody has messed with it
Nope.
at
They're
all.
gods. They're rice field gods, or
Yeah,
what you call it. We've got a yeah. Those are always cool.
yeah. If it was in America, some a-hole would have
There,
Oh, it
spray
would have been,
painted it, or
tagged.
there,
or
this
whatever.
is
Uh,
kind of like a bit of a not a tangent, but their trees are also holy here too. I'm in the Shinto area,
Right.
and we had like a holy tree that was I don't know how it was if it fell down from a storm or whatever, but there's this gigantic parking lot across from me where the lumber factory bought it and they just used it to store, wood, like gigantic trees. But
Mhm.
this one that fell over, um, this is before I went to the States here recently. They put it there, this gigantic tree, and I saw a guy going at it with the chainsaw. I said, "What's he doing?" And I came back 3 weeks later. When I came back, there was a gigantic roof over it, and the guy had carved a gigantic dragon out of it.
Oh,
And now
wow.
it's an actual place where people come to pray and everything. It's a holy spot there now.
Oh, because of the
Huh,
tree
interesting.
being holy,
Yeah,
right?
the tree. Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember going into the forest and they had the Shinto ropes made out of the rice rope that
Yep.
went around the circumference of the tree, and it had the
Hmm.
zigzag white papers on it.
Yep.
Um, yeah, because in Shinto they believe that everything has a spirit, and big
Yep.
trees like that specifically have spirits in them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have to make sure that you're taking care of them. Like they have
Hmm.
a Shinto priest come and bless the ground before you do a groundbreaking, so you don't piss off the spirits of the ground if you're going to build a building or something.
Yeah.
Let's say. Um, so he finds this person and he thinks it's a boy, and he's like, "Hey, why aren't you practicing with your spears?" And she runs away, and they wrestle, and he kind of puts his hand on her chest
Because
and is like,
Uh-oh.
"Oh, you're a
she
woman."
doesn't
Oh,
have a spear.
it's a lady.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So then she's like trying to cover up and like, "Oh, my cover's blown," because he was out here wandering around with he had like a plum tree branch with flowers on it,
Yeah.
and then she was collecting flowers because she's a woman. So, and then these guys come in with all of this armor, and they got bows and arrows and extra stuff, and which is a good thing because they're going to need it. But they're like, "Wait, where did you get this?" And this is where you get one of Toshiro Mifune's better performances in the movie. It's kind of profound, um, and you learn more about him. He says, "You said you wanted armor, spears, and bows. Now you got them." But these guys are like, "Wait a second, you guys got these from killing, samurai that were running away,"
Yeah.
which is basically like their class of people, maybe some of their friends or whatever.
Yeah. Specifically the losing
Right?
side.
Hmm.
Yeah. But that happens a lot in all theaters of war, where people will loot the fallen for their weapons and armor and money and clothes and
But
whatever.
but it does make it clear that they actually hunted down these people. They
Right.
didn't find their body or anything. I mean, they might have found bodies, but
But they would,
they
yeah, they
actively
would,
hunted them down.
right, hunt him down. And he has a very good speech here. Because now they're like, yeah, we kind of want to kill everybody here. And this is where he goes into about the farmers and what it's like being a farmer. Because his background is kind of nebulous. Like he tried to show that he had a family pedigree, and they were like, "Well, we know that's a lie." Um, he says, "Ask them for rice, barley, anything, and they'll like pickles and sake. Yeah, jars of rice, salt, beans, sake. You'll find plenty. They'll have it hidden under the floorboards. They kowtow and lie, playing innocent the whole time.
Yeah,
Listen to
and
me."
I
Oh
like
yeah,
it.
this is
This part too, where he's like,
Yeah,
"And what made them those monsters?
you did.
You did."
Right? Yeah, you forced murderers, forced labor. You know, who turned them into such monsters? You did, exactly. Forced labor, taking all their stuff, burning down their village, all that kind of stuff.
So there's plenty of blame to go around.
Right. And then so he storms off. And this guy, again, it's got to come figure out things. And they're like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "It's all cool." So they get this old guy to walk all the way uh, from his house.
House across the river.
Yeah, across the river. That's the other thing. At least when I was in Japan, 20 years ago, you saw a lot of that with older people where their back was really bent,
Yep.
and they
Still the
walk with
same.
cane. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what causes that, but I think it's like calcium deficiency or something.
Yeah. breakdown those
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't. Japanese
the
people don't,
padding in between
compared to
the
Americans, they don't drink a lot of milk or eat a lot of
yeah.
cheese.
Yeah.
It's that padding stuff in
Osteoporosis.
between the discs.
Yeah.
The
Cartilage.
yeah, that
It's
stuff.
like whatever the spongy stuff in there is. So now he's playing with the kids, and then so he doesn't want to sleep with the samurai because he realizes he's not really one of them. Those guys cramp my style. And then this guy's leaving. And he's like, "What are you doing? You own this. You hand over your house and sleep in the barn. Now I move in the barn. You're going to move somewhere else." He's like,
Get in here and go to sleep.
yeah. And then this is when they make the flag. Hachi made the flag for him, and he's like, every good farm, unit needs to have a banner, and so the circles represent the samurai. The kanji at the bottom represents the farmer. The circles represent the samurai, and Kikuchi's like, "Well, what about me?" And he's like, "You're the triangle."
It's funny because a triangle in Japan is in between. So circle means correct, X, or actually circle means correct. A check mark means no, wrong, and then a triangle is like in between.
In between, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Almost like a kind of a draw or a middle ground or a
yeah,
purgatory,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
And so this guy is going to go train, and then so
Ah, this
so
guy's
everyone's going to blame uh Katsuro for like bagging this chick, but she is the one that keeps like,
takes two to tango, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he brought her food, right? Because that's what men do if they like a girl. They bring her presents, and
Here.
white rice is a really big deal since none of them are eating it. But she is like, no, I want to take it to the old grandma.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kuimon's grandmother. So so now he's like, this is some times past, and he's like, I don't want some, and the other guy's like, no, I'll give you mine, and they're like, what's going on? And so they figure out that this old lady, her whole family has died, and it's just her. So she has no means to like take care of herself, repair anything, basically just off the charity of her neighbors. And she says, I just, hope to die because I'm so old and everyone I know is dead in my family because the bandits killed him. They killed her son.
Hmm. That's got to be a meme soon, right?
What's that?
Nothing. Just with the subtitle is just there
Oh,
perfectly.
how the
I
hell
want
would
to
you
die
know?
soon. I
Oh,
hope to die
yeah.
soon.
Because he tells her that it'll be better in the next world. And she's like, but what if it's just like here in the next world? What if they're bandits and, starvation and whatever? And he's like, no, it'll be nice. And that's when they're like, what do you know? You haven't been there. So then he's like, you caught me with Shino. This dude's
It's
like,
like,
whatever, bro.
well, why didn't you tell him? He's like, do you want me to?
Yeah.
And he just walks away.
So now the barley is ripe. Oh, so now they're giving rice to the kids. And he's like,
Which
they were like, give us rice, give us rice. And he's like, well, if you can be all boisterous and demand rice, then you obviously don't need it. You got enough energy.
and this is pretty much duplicated in the Seven Samurai.
Right.
The Seven Samurai pretty much have all the same points, but just different timing and stuff.
And this goes back again to showing how generous they are and that kind of thing. So they want to create a moat around the south of the village. Takes at least a day to flatten the pass and draw the water. This is when they're asking him how long it's going to take some stuff to get done. And this is when they're saying we need to live the house on this side of the bridge too. They should have already known that and should have been moving all their stuff out. But these
Yeah.
guys throw a fit and they're like, no, we're not gonna. We're gonna move out to the other side and we're gonna defend it and we're gonna take our family and our babies with us because we're smart. Okay, and then this is starting tomorrow. Each squad will live and work as one. You don't go home after anymore. We're gonna live and train together. And I want to say that it looked like each one of them had like 10 or 12 people in it.
Yeah, something like
Each
that.
squad.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
And this was still during the era of
And one of 'em's-
distance farming, when they had to farm like all day just to stay alive.
Right.
So this like weapons training, whatever, would have been like, wait a minute, when are we supposed to grow our food? You know?
Right. And this is where some of the people are like, "Ray, we're going back across." And this is where he has to really put his foot down. He's like, "Everybody get back and pick up your spears. Return to your line." This is where you have to keep discipline. And sometimes in order to enforce the discipline, you have to be very, strict about it. And this is where back in those days, you got stuff like flogging and whatever to keep
I mean,
discipline.
for instance, the original or the Shogun, the guy like does something to make the samurai mad, and he just cuts his head off.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, that was more because he was the liege of that village. So
Yeah,
kind
but
of
that's
do whatever.
the mentality, though.
Right. But this guy is not that kind of guy.
No,
He's doing it though because he needs them. He can't let it slow down in order for this to be a success. We can't risk 20 to save 3 because there's 20 houses over here and only 3 on the other side. They're like, that's not right. Those 3 cannot. And if, let's say, they do protect the 3 and it burns down the whole village, well, then they can't survive on their own anyway.
Also,
The village would be dead.
this is in a time period when it is not quite as acceptable to train the peasants in fighting.
Right.
Yeah. So he pretty much tells them if anybody else does this again, yeah, here I'm going to use this sword. And
Now there's the actual intermission.
the intermission, which is about 10 minutes, I think.
Right. Yeah. So then they show them doing the harvest, and this is when all the women come out of hiding because they need her help. And that's when Kuche is like, "Hey, look at all these women." He's like, "Where were you hiding all these women at?" And this guy's laughing because he's like, and now he's like trying to hit on all of them. And he's like, "Here, let me help you out. I'll cut
Yeah.
your 5 times your share in one day."
So they kind of ask this guy again, why aren't you married? So
Right. They
he
ask him,
runs-
"Yeah, look at all these women. Why aren't you married?" And this again makes him very mad, and he runs off. And so they go look for him, and they find him in like a thicket, and they're like, "What could have done this? A bear?" And he's like, "No, a scythe did that," because they saw him come out of here after he'd been gone for a while, and apparently he just went in here and like took out his rage on all this bamboo and stuff.
Yeah.
But he won't say anything. Like, what's the problem? And then
He's an
again,
incel.
yeah. So then they're like, okay, time to do the nighttime rounds and check on things.
Yeah, they come across
And this guy is obviously sleeping on duty. So they steal his sword and then throw a rock in.
Oh, it's not there. So then they start filling up the fields and
Oh, they also bring out a horse, right, to help with the plowing. You're going to kill it, and then Yohi's going to be sad. And he's like, nah, you just got to be an expert horseman. You can make it ride like the wind, any horse. What's crazy is at this time, the Japanese did not have metal horseshoes
yep.
for their horses. They had like straw slipper things they made them wear. If they even had that, because I think you can have horses without shoes, just kind of running around. Wild horses do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
But if you have them running, carrying weight
Right.
and on harder terrain, it
Yeah, like on
messes
paved
them
roads
up.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The threshing's done and still no bandits. Because people are laughing and having a good time and stuff at the harvest, but that's the other thing. I mean, if I was the bandits, I'd wait till everything was fully collected and all the work was done before I showed up.
Yeah.
So he's now they're talking about, he's like, I'm a samurai, and she's pouting because she's like, because you're a samurai and I'm a farmer and whatever. And he's like, well, and she really likes him. So she pulls this move where she just throws herself back and is like, all right, I'm going to let him do whatever. And he's like,
If only.
to be. And then they hear something. They hear like a horse whinny or whatever. And they're like, come on. And they come up here and they see 3 horses. So that they're scouts coming to check on the town. And he's like, hey, but they know about it already too. Then he runs in. Hey, they're bandits. He's like, we know because somebody already saw them. But I hope now, yeah, to the west. And now they know. So he's like, hey, have everybody go inside and hide so that they won't be able to see anything. Because now the bandits are going to see like the fence and the moat and stuff. And they're going to be like, hey, what's going on? So, but if they see the samurai, then they can go back to, I probably would have done is once I got that fire started, I would have got rid of their horses.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
something that you don't see them doing this, but I would have been killing the crap out of those horses. Like when they try to come into town, I've been spearing the horses to get them off of them. But anyway, they look in here and they see all these women like shacked up with them. And then they see this woman. She's obviously more important. She has like nice finery and clothes and stuff. And this is when the music from the No is playing. And it's got like this high pitched like. So when you hear that in No, it's usually like a spirit or somebody that's dead or like a ghost. So
Yep.
she's almost like a ghost, but she's still alive. But it's because of her circumstance.
Yeah.
Yeah, her
And-
spirit is dead.
Right, her spirit is dead, exactly. And they're looking in and they're seeing everybody and they're like, okay, let's light all this on fire. And as they run out, they let the women pass and then they cut the guys down as best they can. And
And then they find out they have rifles too.
right, they have matchlocks. Then Kikichi sees the woman when she comes out of the burning building, and she sees him. Hopefully we can get it in the frame here. And she sees, she sees him, and then she turns around and runs back inside. See, this is her. See, she's almost crazed. Like, whoa, what's going on? Because she smelled the smoke and fire, and she never raised the alarm. She kind of looked at it surprised, and then she composed herself and was like, well, I guess I'll die in here. Then she sees him, and then she runs back inside. See? And that's because she's his wife and she got stolen by the bandits. That's why they always talk about getting married. He's so pissed off about everything. is because she'd been taken by them, and with
And
all the
then
implications that implies. And
Yeah.
she is so shamed by having been despoiled and whatever that she just runs back inside, um, and dies in the fire. And then Heihachi, which was with him, he gets shot by one of the matchlock rifles.
yep,
Which back then is a coward's way of killing somebody.
yeah, Bandit's way.
So they bury him in the graveyard, which normally you can tell who the normal graves are because they have the little stones. Um,
Yeah,
but for this thematic purpose, the way it's backlit against from the bottom of the hill to the top, you'll see these mounds, and as more people die, the mounds will appear. And the samurai get spears, and the village members get. I mean, the samurais get samurai swords, and the villagers get spears sticking out, so you can tell who died and whatever. So he's the first one dead. But they whittled down the number of bandits because not all the bandits were in the thing. So now they're all like despondent and everything. So Kikuchi gets the flag that he made for them, and with the music and everything, it's a very powerful moment
hmm
in the movie.
Then the
Because
the
yeah,
bandits come over the hill.
yep. And then the bandits come over, and this is the hill they were talking about. Like he was like, "Hey, there are mountains on the backside," and they're like, "Yeah, but can you pass it on horses?" He was like, "Yep." So they can just ride down. But their scouts all died, so they have no idea what to be expecting at the village, and they just lost some of their people in a raid. Plus, all of their food got burned. That's another important factor. Uh, all that stuff burned down, all of their supplies, and a lot of their,
Yeah.
a lot of
Now
their
they have to
refinery.
raid whether they like it or not.
Right,
Like,
exactly. Yes,
Mm,
Yeah,
they can't
good
afford to
point.
just not come here.
I would have dug a moat right here. So as they come over, they just fall into the moat and roll down the hill. I think that would work.
If we had time to dig them out, sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So they
they
all,
did. They did do a lot of digging and
yeah, but there was
with
already like
fields and
rice
stuff.
paddies there ready to
Yeah,
already be flooded. They just had to connect them up a little bit. So that would have been hard work going up a hill like that. Plus, who
yeah.
knows? It might have been rocky or whatever. But anyway, so they built their fence, so they're not going to be able to just ride in. And they also have bales of like rice stock, whatever, to hide behind to him, so he can decide where to use people.
So I had to go. I had to go look to make sure. But remember the scene where they're riding over the top of the hill?
Uh huh.
hmm
Again, I had to go look. I don't know if it's a common thing, but in Godzilla, it's the exact same angle on a similar looking hill when it first appears over the town of peasants that's terrorizing. Remember when they go to the island? When everybody goes to the island?
In the very first one,
Yeah, in the very first Godzilla, when
which
they don't know Godzilla exists yet, so the Raymond Burr's character, in the American one, Raymond Burr's character, obviously
right.
the Japanese one, they go to like Edo Island or something like that, and um, there's a noise, and they're creeping up the hill, and the hill where Godzilla first gets seen by the audience, where his head comes up, it's the exact same angle, and it's the exact same sort of thing as the attack angle in this.
Well,
Yeah,
it
they
was that
messed
movie was
up
made
with
in
it.
1954 as well.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if that's like a thing Japanese directors do, um, or if it's a like a if we would see that if now no seeing that scene will be recognized in other films. You know what I mean?
Right.
The angle of the hill and all that.
yeah, it would be like in the early 2000s where everyone started using bullet time.
Yeah,
You know,
like
like
I feel like in
we understand that to be the speed of the bullet. Like
Yeah,
they
let me
didn't do it all like the Matrix, but they all did something kind of similar.
Yeah.
I'll show you what I got. Shield wall.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I see it in the picture down there. Yeah.
What is it?
The
Wow.
Shield wall rotating through the
Uh,
see the angle of the hill and
yeah.
Godzilla coming up over it. I'll play it for a second to get the and
Ah, it's Ironside. Yeah.
let me use that.
Oh wow.
I think they'll show
I
it one
didn't
more
know he
time.
was in it.
Look up. I think they show it. Do they show it again? Yeah, there you go. See
Uh,
how the same angle, the same sort of like a threat from
Yeah.
the top coming down the hill. You know.
yeah, yeah.
Now you got me thinking.
I didn't know Raven Burr was in that movie.
Well, he was in the American remake,
Oh, okay.
Godzilla King of the Monsters. In Gojira, it's just a scene with the Japanese guy.
So the old guy is still in his cabin across the
Right.
river.
And his
Like, you gotta go.
son and daughter, or his son's wife, and then they bring their baby with them. Why? I don't know. To go over there to try to get him out of there, and of course he doesn't want to leave. And everyone's telling him to go help because you got bandits riding all over the place.
I mean, to be fair, trying to find a sitter at that time.
Yeah,
It's a big
exactly. So then they're trying to like fire their troops up, get them to do like shouts and stuff. And then,
task.
so
That's the
yeah, they've
process.
got. They also see that they have 3 muskets.
Right.
And then right, so they burn the houses on the other side, and it looks like they built these houses and then really lit them on fire.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it certainly
with
does.
the sound, like they didn't fully sound it. It sounded like they just recorded them burning and spliced that right into the movie. Whereas like you could do your foley, it might have had like a blowtorch and like a camp, like a like a like a fireplace fire, and you put a mic in it or something. This had like a booming popping sound, like they just let him burn and then recorded it.
Yeah.
So he goes and runs down the river to try to save somebody because they're like, hey, you can't go down there. So he decides to follow him. And the mother got speared in the back, so they just have the baby to save the little kid. I don't know, what is that? Maybe a 2.5-year-old,
Yeah.
something like that. And this is when he breaks down and he's like, "This, you're basically me. This is what happened to me." So that's how he knows all this stuff about being a farmer and what farmers are like, is because he was from a farming community. But his village got burned,
Yeah.
so he had to leave and become like whatever he is now.
Yeah,
And
and
then of
that's
course,
best case scenario. Like he's the best case scenario of what he is now. You know what I
right,
mean? Like,
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And then Yohi actually killed one of the bandits with his spear, and he's all shocked and everything. And it kind of reminded me of the scene in Conan the Barbarian,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
where he like kills him and he's like, "Oh, I got him with my spear."
Dun, dun.
Yeah.
So somebody runs off, and he's like, "Wait a second, you're not shot. That a flea bite would kill you." And you gave away the fact that you have a daughter.
yeah, you made her compromise her position.
Listen, yeah, exactly. And then it's nighttime, and they hear stuff, and there's guys creeping around in the water. And of course they know how many there are, so they mark off all the ones they know are dead.
Yeah, which is also a really interesting way of like keeping time in this.
Mhm.
It was just like, okay, well, we have this many bad guys to go.
And it's also realistic because that's exactly what the bad guys would do is they would probe the defenses now.
Yeah.
Send a couple guys in here, see if you can figure a way in, um, looking for weaknesses. Uh, and they know the guns are still out there. And he's like, well, why don't we go out and see what's going on? And they're like, no, here, we'll show you why you don't do this. And so they make this scarecrow.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
I may be reaching for this, but I'm starting to remember battle scenes in movies. And so remember the framing shot we talked about was the hills at an angle and the bad guys up the hill. So I showed it to you we saw it in Seven Samurai, I showed it to you in Godzilla. Now, this is the same angle, but the bad guys are at the bottom of the hill.
I'm trying to see what that is.
We're going to see this in every shot we see now. You see what I'm talking about, Shieldwall?
Where is it?
It's
not there anymore.
It's under Matt.
I put another one, another different share.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's nothing there. There's no arrow to show me where to go. Try it again.
Okay, exit screen share.
I see the little picture. I just can't make out what it is.
Try again.
On my screen, it's to the... Yeah, there we go.
Oh,
So you see the scene?
Yeah, Helm's Deep. Yeah.
And we're going to see that angle in everything where the bad guys, the angle of the bad guy army is there. I'm thinking of other battles. Now I want to go look at Ears of the Dead in 13th Warrior while you guys are talking.
So are you saying that the Rohirrim are the bad guys in this scenario?
No. There's an angle hill, right?
Yeah.
And the bad guys.
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I'm going to go, well, we got to talk. I'm going to go look at 13th Warrior, that charge, and see if they have the same angle.
yeah, there is a hill charge in that, isn't there?
Yeah. So they pop the little scarecrow guy out, and there's firelight, so that they lit fires, and it gets shot twice. So that means they had at least 2 guns lined up out there. Because it takes, even if you're super trained and proficient, it takes you about 15 seconds to get that thing reloaded.
Yeah.
If not longer.
Depending on how trained you are on
Yeah, right. I mean, you're doing it at night and whatever. But so, and he says, if only we could get one of those guns. And so Kyuzo is like, I'll go get one. And he just takes off into the... And now, some of these guys are wearing armor. And if you look at Katsushiro's armor, where it's like he's got the jacket on the outside, but underneath he's got that armor, that is directly out of Ghost of Tsushima. You have an armor set just like he's got on.
Yeah.
Where he's got like the outer coat, and then he's got his armor on underneath it. And then, of course, the other guy just puts this little skull cap thing, like that's going to do anything.
Yeah, his forehead blocker.
Yeah, his forehead blocker. But I understand why they didn't.
It's too shiny. I need to put this on.
Exactly. Although that thing's shiny too. But I understand why they didn't put him in full armor, because then you'd be almost impossible to tell who's who. So, unless you put him in like really crazy, like antlers on their head kind of stuff. Anyway, so he comes back, he got the gun, and then he's just like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep now. And then he says, I think you're magnificent. I just wanted to tell you that for a long time. He's like, okay, whatever. And then the next day, they wake up and they hear some stuff.
So they're like just letting 1 or 2 of them in.
Right. So that's when they say, aren't we going to make... That's something we missed. They said, aren't we going to build a wall here? And he's like, no, every good fort has a gap that you can let people in, right? And then you can close the gap off and you can kill the people that get inside. It's kind of like making a kill box or whatever.
Right.
If you've ever played any kind of like medieval castle games or anything like that, if you can let them through the gatehouse, but you have an inner yard with like an inner wall, you can just murder them while they're down in there once they bust through.
They shield wall.
Yeah.
So I went into 13th Warrior, and it's like a compound shot where there's 2 one hill with 2 angles.
You'll have to share it again.
Again, I guess it's a function of this.
Ah, there we go. There we go.
No, no, I gotta share it again because you told me to take it
Sorry.
out. Oh, you know what it is? It's taking a while to render because this platform takes time to render.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I saw it immediately. It's just too small for me to figure out what it
Yeah.
is.
So notice you still have the hill angle, but split in
Right.
two.
Right.
But,
Yeah,
yeah,
because that's like some kind of terrain feature in between there. It's like
yeah.
a building or something.
This is
Um,
we're gonna see this everywhere we go now. Like in every, you know what I mean? Somebody goes, oh, that's a, you
Seven
know,
Samurai Hill.
yeah, and this is basically you got the villagers, and they've got everybody. Like they got women and children throwing stuff at them too from the top
yep.
of the
Yeah.
longhouse.
Oh yeah. Like I said, especially the movie version of this
Yeah.
is clearly drawn from the Seven Samurai. You know.
Yeah.
So, wow, man, my entire viewership is gonna change now.
So the horses charge in, and then so then the one guy at the gate he'll run down and yell to them in the middle, "Hey, we got another on the way. We're gonna let one in." And so they get him in there, and then they close it off with the spear so they can't get in.
I think we got another one. Oh. Yeah, I'm surprised the bandits keep falling for it.
Well, this is only the second time. They let the first one in, and then the second one, and then they kill this guy, and then this guy, is he the one that is got like doing dressage with his horse where he's getting like to kick and stuff?
Not yet. That happens a little bit later.
Okay. But yeah, one or two of them fall off and they chase him down and spear him to death. Uh, and yeah, this guy falls off his horse. And
Yeah.
I don't know how prevalent it was with Japanese horses, but I know in medieval Europe they definitely did it.
Yeah, they were trained him to do that.
Right, exactly.
And bite. They would bite too.
Right. You had to get, yeah, that's why a lot of the European knights were male horses because they were more aggressive.
Right.
More ornery.
Yeah, exactly. So now I think he's like, yeah, they're not going to fall for it anymore because we've, picked off a few of them that way.
Also, we know this from the Rings of Power that the horse ships were, like a bigger on the inside.
Oh, yeah. But that skirmish cost him 4. And then Kuzo got 2 last night when he got the rifle. So they're marking more off. And then now he's talking up the praises of Kuzo. He's like, he never once boasted about getting the rifle. He's such a great guy. So Gucci's like, well, I'm going to go get one then. And then here we go. This is, like Yohei is trying on all this looted armor, and it doesn't really fit. But, I mean, they got enough to make a full set. So he's like, well, I'll go get one. So he runs off to go get a rifle to prove that he could do it because the kid was making such a big deal about it.
Yeah. And they do kill off a couple of their own guys here because they were.
Well, they were wanting to run away, right? They were trying to desert. And then this guy with a really big helmet hat looking thing in the middle, he's basically got nothing on. He's naked except for that piece of armor. And he's got like a little underwear loincloth thing on, but but he's got that big helmet that's like, that guy's he's really, and it, he's got his butt hanging out. So they killed these guys. So he steals this guy's armor so he can blend in. Oh, now he's just in his underwear.
He's just naked and with armor.
It's got to be summertime because otherwise, why would you like like a pair of goggles, but not really. It's just like a slim thing that goes over the brow of your face. I don't know if it's to keep the sun out or what. But he's like, "Hey, how's it
Well,
going?" So he
those were
thinks he's another
things that
bandit.
just, they're a piece of a armor set. They're
Right.
not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
full
So it's
headgear.
almost how like the Roman gladiators are depicted, where it's
Yeah.
just just random. You got what you got.
Right.
Just guess that. Hey, wait, you're not one of us. What?
Right. But he kind of looks like one. So, and he chases him and kills him. But him doing this, right, kind of it kind of causes the like everything was going good. It kind of caused the plan to fall apart a little bit. So he comes back and they were like, "Hey, you were away from your post," because he's supposed to be leading a squad, but he took off to get this gun. And he's like, "Listen to me, wars not fight alone." So then, what happened is guys tried to infiltrate the other side that was in his area. He's like, "My post is fine," because he didn't know he was away from his post. He says there's nothing wrong because but here's the thing. The other guy went out and got it, and he got all these accolades. So I haven't you ever been in that position where you see somebody do something and then you try to do it and then everyone thinks you're the a-hole? You're like, wait a second. This guy over
Yeah.
here just did the exact same thing and you guys are calling him a hero.
Well,
And,
look,
and
I
then they
do
go,
it,
well,
okay?
yeah,
his
that guy's
his
Yeah.
cooler
was
than you.
his was
Yeah.
at night,
Right.
and
Well, no.
his made the bandits attack sooner.
Right. Also,
So
there were
did
other people here to cover
yeah.
his position. This guy just bounced. I get all that, but I also get where he's coming from, where that's kind of you're kind of like Milton from Office Space. Now, Milton, don't be greedy and pass the cake on, and then but you never get the cake. I've
Yeah.
worked in duty sections where we were Milton. Everybody else got everything, and they tell us to not be greedy, and it's like we never get anything. Everyone else gets all these days off, and we're over here working, you know. But so what happened was is some of the bandits got in, and they were able to, and they took some losses, basically.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to, so they chase them off, but they lost two people, and this guy got through on a horse and is shooting people, and he shoots like a woman in the back,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't know if it kills her or not. I don't think it does. And shoots this guy in the back and kills him. And then they shoot Yohei in the back and kill him. Yeah, this is him. And he says, I defended my post. I didn't run away. Which, for all his flaws and being a little weasel, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did.
Yeah.
And they hear a gunshot, and another one of the samurai got it.
Oh, right.
Normal day.
Yeah, he ran out to fight him. Yep. And he's realizing it's all his fault. So here you go. So you got the two samurai, and then you got the spear. And if you look, there winds up being 3 spears here. 1, 2, 3. And I don't know if the woman died or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they killed 7 more, but at a really high price.
You poor man, you've lost a lot of weight. So now there's like, I want to say 13 left of the bandits.
Right. And they have to attack because they're out of food. And then this is where they're like, okay, place 2 on watch, let the men sleep, and then let them go one by one to like go home and meet their family and stuff. Oh, way back when they said, all right, tonight we're all going to be together. He's like, so all you guys, and that's when Kokichi was like, all you guys go home and make sure to give your women extra loving. And they had a bunch of shots of like really old women with no teeth laughing about the whole thing. So that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I do like how the humor is done in this.
Yeah.
Where it was like obviously in scenes like this, there would almost be like a pause for to let the joke land, and it's like, no, it's very real time.
Right. It's something that real people would do and say that were in these situations. It isn't like a great heroic movie moment is happening, and then now there's some kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy humor thrown in there,
Yes.
like they do today. They don't let a moment breathe. They just got to keep constantly keep adding stuff to it. Whereas this will let a moment kind of breathe, or it'll slow cut to the new scene.
Yeah. It's people don't just, oh, somebody died. Hey, I heard this funny joke.
Yeah.
So
Or
he's
even
like,
if something serious is happening and something
right.
funny is going on, you can have those things. It's just a style of editing, right? Where it was like, oh, we have this serious moment here. We're gonna that's much more realistic. Where when I've actually been in serious situations and people get nervous and they crack jokes, most of the people will just like blow right through that, right? You're not thinking about like, oh, you might get like 4 or 5 giggles, but like the rest of the people are focused on the task at hand. Like,
Yeah.
or I remember my friend, he was we didn't know it at the time, but like his kidneys had failed him and he was on dialysis. And there was one time we were at a party and he collapsed, and we had someone, and I was propping his head up, and someone was like, I was like, can you get him a glass of water? And someone handed me the glass of water. And my initial instinct was to sip it because I was freaking out, but you're like, oh, no, this is for him, but in time, I didn't pause and then look directly into the camera. No, I gave it to my friend, but yeah, I was freaking out too, because I had no idea what was going on.
Right. So this is again. So now she's dressed like a girl, and because she seeks him out, and then takes him into this thing, and then basically is like, for all intents and purposes, she wants it. It's not just him. He's not like
Yeah.
going at, he's not like forcing her, or he didn't tell her any lies or anything to get her in this position. She definitely wants to be doing it.
And they might die tomorrow.
Right, exactly. And then, so now they bring out sake and some like plums or something. I don't know what those other things were. But Monzo's looking for her because he wants to, spend time with his daughter before he potentially dies the next day. And he's looking around. He can't find her. And he finds other villagers, like, probably unmarried, hanging out in the weeds and stuff. And then, so this guy, he's so, like, the fact that he left his post and everybody died, he's so crushed about it. He brings up the sake for him, and he's like, hey, it was a hard battle. You got to rest for tomorrow. Why don't you drink? So he just goes crazy with it. And a lot of people who drink sake, it looks clear to you now, but old traditional sake made with rice and everything was very cloudy looking.
So is beer.
Yeah. And you can still find it that way. It just depends.
Amazake.
Yeah,
Is what they
right.
call it.
Yeah.
Or unfiltered wheat beer.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and that's when he sees him come out of there, and then she comes out. She looks all happy and stuff, and then, but no, he's going to get a hold of her now, and he starts calling her, the W word, and start beating her and stuff. What's a farm girl doing with a samurai because of class differences and whatever. Now she's actually ruined for marriage, especially since he's throwing a scene everyone knows.
And the village being such a small place as it
Right.
is, I mean, this will
Well,
never go away.
it I think what a lot of times would happen is you would marry somebody from like the village over or
Mm.
whatever, if you could help it. But they're like, hey, don't be angry, young people and everyone might die and all that. This often happens inside castles too. What's wrong with two people in love? It's not like bandits took her. Which is true.
And this is like just starts to rain.
Oh,
Oh,
and then it starts
he's
to rain.
coming.
Everyone bails out.
they
They're
just
like,
leave her. They
yep,
just leave her out
yep.
in
They
the
just leave her
rain.
out there. The rains will wash her clean.
Oh no! This poor girl just got embarrassed in front of the entire village.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just
And
leave
then,
her crying in the
and
rain.
then he doesn't do anything to defend her. He's just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I felt bad for her, but that was all the way over there. And
But now it's the final showdown for the village.
The final
Yeah,
countdown.
because we're gonna have the main assault. This time they said we're not gonna let anybody in. They're
No,
wounded.
this time they're gonna let all of them in.
Right.
Right? Is that what you said?
yeah,
Yeah, they're gonna
I'm
let them
sorry.
all in. Right. Because there's only 13, so if they play their cards right and fight from the houses and stuff.
Still got one guy with a gun, huh?
Right. Yeah, there's still a gun. And then Kyucho is putting out a bunch of swords so he doesn't have to, like, if one breaks or something.
yeah. Well,
And,
he says something like that, and like there's still a bunch of guys to kill. I probably need one sword to fight off two men. You guys expect me to kill 13, or it was
Right.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna need more swords. We're gonna kill a lot more, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very like I said, this is kind of like an archetype character of like Raphael, or like I said, that one from Demon Slayer, where I'm the outlier badass.
Right.
Like
What's crazy about that character from Demon Slayer that's got the pig helmet on? Have you seen him without the helmet?
oh yeah, I know he's gorgeous.
He's like beautiful.
Almost,
With,
yeah, almost feminine. Some
yeah,
people
almost
take him
feminine
on
with
the
like
lawn.
purple, like he's got black hair with purple highlights and really long eyelashes.
Yeah, no, actually, there's a or not a side story, but there's like a thing where they actually have to go undercover and go into
Yeah, they go into a brothel or
yeah,
whatever.
raffle, and everyone like they want to pay top dollar for him, and he's
Yeah.
just getting mad.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, it's funny.
yeah, that was
Yeah, that was pretty good. 'Cause, yeah, I was surprised when he first took his helmet off to eat. I was like, "What?"
oh no, it was such a wonderful reveal.
Yeah, yeah. So now some of them are trying to climb the fence. They're getting attacked from like a couple different locations. I think did this already happen, or maybe it might have already happened with the when they let some of the other ones in, where the women chased them down with like
Yeah,
picks and shovels and stuff. Yeah,
then the swordsman dude gets it.
Yeah, this is so like the whole his honor as a samurai and his traditional way of fighting, and killed cowardly by a man far away.
right.
Ugh,
Just
Yeah.
getting shot.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Here's the other thing, though, is I'm amazed that that match was even dry enough to use. It's like super raining out. That was a big problem that they had with guns
He
back
was
then. If it was in this kind of weather,
he was hiding inside the house though,
yeah,
wasn't
he
he?
was inside the
Yeah,
house, but you
yeah.
know what I mean. He
I
was
got you. I got you.
definitely rained on before he got in there. Um, so he doesn't even make it.
Yeah. That's it.
So the only three that live are Kanbei, Katsushiro, and
His protege.
Yeah, Tsuchichiro Joe, I think is his name.
His name is
Yeah, his old friend and
Katsuhiro. No,
no, it's Shi
Shichiroji.
yeah,
Shiro,
Shichiroji. That's it.
Shiroji.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Shichi means 7. Roji.
So he
Without
lived.
an N at the end, it's okay. No, go ahead.
Yeah. So he lives. Um, so they they kind of pay a heavy price. So then it turns to it's planting now. They're planting. Who knows how much time has passed? You know, but if they're already planting again, maybe it's a few like a month or something, or maybe more. Um, I'm not really sure what the planting is going, but now they're planting rice, I think,
Yeah.
and they got the paddies flooded and whatever, and they're playing music and all the women are singing, and while they plant.
Yeah, they're back to their ways.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. But they're happy and life is
yeah.
returned to normal in the village. Um, and they're like, well, we lost again. The farmers won, but we didn't.
Yeah.
And then here's um, you got the 4 samurai that died with their swords, and then some of the other mounds that you can tell are new, but they don't have their spears in them anymore for whatever reason.
But even though he wasn't a samurai, he was buried as one.
Oh, yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just leave it on that shot. That's a good Indian
Yeah,
That's a
shot
great
right
shot.
there.
It's
Yeah.
a really good shot. And the movie basically ends after this.
Yeah.
So, also, Shino runs past him, like carrying a bunch of rice stuff, and he stops and looks at her, and she looks at him, and then she keeps on going, basically
Yeah.
saying like, "Hey, I understand it got to work, or
Man,
whatever,
how
or
long
I
have you
Different
been
worlds.
gone?
or I found a better guy on Tinder."
I just noticed Matt wouldn't
Almost half
on
an
the
hour.
chat. Oh,
The,
I'm
uh,
Oh,
sorry,
really?
I
man.
pressed the wrong button in this new user interface for this program. And
Oh,
I
I,
thought it was.
it
and
showed
then
like you didn't have a thing or whatever, but I
yeah,
thought you were
like
still there.
so when I took out my remember the last thing I shared was that the clip from
Yeah.
you know the only interesting thing you would heard me
I
say is
thought you were busy looking up different battles.
well I was that's why I didn't notice at first. I was like thinking of other battles. Then I got Nigel. Then I looked at Excalibur, and Nigel Terry played King Arthur, and I was like, I love Nigel Terry nostalgia kick. Few scenes of him. Um, he passed away in 2015 or so. He was a great actor. Um,
Oh, I just thought of another one, Matt. Braveheart.
yeah.
The
Okay,
English coming up over the hill.
let me grab Braveheart. Remember about when that occurs?
So this is a really good movie. Highly recommend it to
I don't
everybody
have Braveheart. Oh my god.
if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, and guys, I know this was a long one, but it's a really good one. Thanks
Yeah.
for hanging in there.
I flew right by, man.
Yeah,
Fun to
you
talk
got
about.
and also you got Hidden Fortress.
Wow.
That is
It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yoshinbo,
Yep.
There you go.
Ron, Rashomon.
Yeah.
Uh, little quick fact. I think it was Rashomon. They had the new DVD. I can't remember if it was Blu-ray or not, but it had an illustrated cover by Kent Williams, who was my guest professor at ECU my last year of college.
Really?
Yes,
wow.
it's really he's a really great artist. He's worked for Marvel, DC. He's done Wolverine and Havoc. He's done Sandman, a whole bunch of stuff. But that he got also commissioned to do the Godzilla poster as well. Or yeah, yeah. He loves Japan.
So Seven Samurai is something like the 12th or 13th movie that uh, Kurosawa was involved with. Uh, he directed like all of those films, and he's usually the writer on most of his movies, by the way. Um, but the period is his period where this comes out. Rashomon came out like a year before this, I think. Um, what else? The Hidden Fortress was a couple years after this.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Throne
think
of
it
Blood
was
was, I
like
think, around the same time as Hidden Fortress.
mm-hmm.
Yojimbo was like the year or two after Hidden Fortress. Yojimbo and Senjuro. Those, you got to watch those two movies. I mean, there's no. Uh, it's a sequel to Yojimbo basically. So it's like, you know how Yojimbo was the birth of the male named like Clint Eastwood. Well, Yojimbo and Senjuro are like the original Melano name. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Yeah. Yes. He did later on, even in the '80s, he did Kagemusha and Ron.
I love
Uh,
Ron. Ron is so
yeah.
great.
And what's another film? In the '90s, he did a movie called Dreams. And
He
I
did it
know he
with
did
Richard
more.
Gere, right?
Yeah, I think that was yeah.
He
Yeah.
died in '97.
I thought he died in '98.
He was
Or it might have
working
been
until the
98.
end.
Yeah.
He
Well,
was
that's the
working
year I
until
came
the
to
end.
Japan for the first time. Weird.
Yeah. This guy, he has never done a. Not all of his films are great movies to watch, but you will never fault any of his films for the production quality. It's like Hitchcock. Hitchcock do like World War II propaganda documentaries, and they're like cinema level quality, the production value. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
these guys, they don't half-ass their work. There's a lot of great directors who always have that one film where they're like experimenting or whatever, and so they
Yeah.
take it in some aspect. These two guys, Hitchcock and Kurosawa, never did that.
I see them as like Mozart or something. They visualize it in their head first
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
and are able to
Oh, with
just
that, yeah.
go with it. They're that
Yeah.
good. See, that's a great artwork there, James.
Oh, thanks, man. It's fun.
It's awesome.
Talking and drawing.
Yeah, that is just
Epic.
I was debating whether or not to put the title in there, but I felt like, oh, it's got to go in there.
Oh
I'll
yeah,
throw it in there.
definitely.
Yeah,
Looks great.
appreciate it. That was fun. It was awesome.
Yeah, and
That's a Mifune
because
character.
he's
Yeah.
a more well-known actor. If you look at promotional photos of this movie, he's like in the forefront.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, he was
He's more recognizable.
right. The other lead actor, he was very notable at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Toshiro Mifune was a big deal.
Yeah.
And if you want another Naruto tie-in, guys, so Shieldwall and I were talking earlier about the time period that this occurs in, which when Nobunga was consolidating events in Japan and all that. Well, that's called the Warring States period in Japan, and the Warring States period in Naruto is the several hundred years right before Hashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha founded the Hidden Village system. So, and mysterious power transforms the world with his changes. This point of history, that period of history, is clearly profoundly influential to Japanese like literary culture. You know what I mean?
It is because it lasted for so long and it was such a upheaval, but also so many good heroes came out of it. Another great book to read, and it's based on a real story, and you got to see the Japanese version, not the really bad American version, but it's 47 Ronin.
Oh yeah. I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
When I realized I wasn't in the show anymore, I was talking about that.
Yeah. The book is really good.
I've actually
really
seen the
good story.
kabuki performance of it, which was
really?
really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
They come out with the guy's head at the end.
At least one of the actors who played the Seven Samurai are in 47 Ronin.
Mm-hmm.
They did a movie with Keanu Reeves about that.
It's terrible. They had like a witch.
I couldn't bring myself to watch it.
I fell asleep during it.
In defense of the Keanu Reeves movie, I believe it's based on an anime adaptation or manga.
Oh, okay.
It's not based on the original.
But the real story, it's based on a real factual story of what these guys did for their honor. And it was really cool. They all, I don't want to give away the plot or anything, but it's really cool. If you have not seen it, I wouldn't imagine many of our viewers have not seen it. But
the name of the kabuki play is called Chushingura.
Is it
remember
like
seeing
a
that.
modern type play, or do you know
Oh,
if
it's been
it's
on
like
for a long time. That's
yeah,
one of the most popular kabuki. I think it's
right,
the most
right.
popular kabuki performances out there.
It's such a good story, and
Mhm.
it's real. It really happened, but it's kind of that period of time in Japan's history is very romantic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Just because of so many
Yeah.
big political, cultural upheavals at that time. Um, and it's just like, okay, so you got samurai, pirates, and Vikings. It's like all cool
Yeah.
Well,
stuff.
that's why there's often so many like comparisons to like the old west in
Right,
the US.
Hmm.
exactly. Yeah,
Yep.
It's just there's a certain time where these fantastic things happened, and fantastic, I mean in the full sense of the word. There's also extremely horrendous things that happen, but you get these uh hero archetypes that can
mhm.
only be found in that period,
I,
right?
I
You
think
don't.
I think what the lore of those periods are, the Old West, the warring periods in Japan, the Viking Age, and pirates is an average man could make their way to the top if they were good enough. There wasn't
Yeah.
a system in
Yeah.
place to really prevent them, or it was at least loose enough to where it could happen. Um, you could become the pirate king. You become, you could raid England and make your own homestead if you were a Viking and become like,
Yeah.
the lord of ships or something. If you're in a samurai, you could start as a peasant and work your way up to the top because it really happened in real life. People
Mhm.
were able to do that. Just like in the Old West, you start out with nothing and you build up your reputation, and you hit you pan for gold and strike it rich or whatever. You just go out and make a cut it down some trees and make a log cabin and live there if you want. Um, there was more freedom and openness, which I think is the allure of those periods of time. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you died young.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
went out in a blaze of glory.
But let us not remember. Let us not remember that as romantic as the primitive times sound, at least half of us would be dead if these were primitive times.
oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
I had my
Within like
I
minutes.
had my appendix out like a couple years
yeah,
ago. I was thinking about that. I was like, dude, this is like 200 years ago. I would just been in.
200. Can you imagine 500 years ago? Like, yeah, you had a appendix problem, and they're like, we will chant
No,
to the gods tonight to see if for it to heal you.
no, they'd be like, he's got the mud blood.
yeah, exactly.
Eh,
Put some
And then the
leeches
one,
on it.
the 1 in 1,000 guy who lives to a burst appendix becomes like a village elder. They give him 17 wives because he survived that and all.
Mhm.
oh, he has a fever. Let's bleed him. Oh,
Yes,
Yes.
that'll help.
Yep.
so yeah,
But
that was great.
let me just say one thing
All
because I
right.
was cut
All right.
off. Yes, those are rice paddy fields. That's what the water indicated. Uh, if I remember correctly, based on where Japan is, more than other countries we would think of, they have multiple growing seasons, so to speak, in a row. Um, that being said, this movie was literally the first Blu-ray I ever bought.
Back when Blu-ray came out.
Yep. I was poor and had a bunch of had a bunch of illegal knockoff DVDs. This is before you could pirate much, and um, and I was like, the Criterion Collection came out with the remastered version of this, and there's controversy over because it wasn't, excuse me, was not a great remaster, but I was like, I got to get that because that film is so amazing. I dove on it. Like, literally, I think I paid like 35 bucks for it or something, which now is like crazy. But and that was crazy because I was literally had to work 65 plus hours a week just to make ends meet back in 2002 or whatever I bought it, or late 90s. But but it's literally the first Blu-ray I bought, and I was willing to spend serious money on it at the time.
Cool. Well, on
Oh, speaking of rice seasons, it's usually for the ones the main one that we have here is June. They plant it in June and then harvest it in October. I used to do that a lot. My
What's
wife's
that?
harvest
Farm?
rice
Oh,
farm, yeah,
really?
because
Really?
my wife's family run a restaurant and they grow all their own rice.
Oh,
They've got their
Okay.
own fields and everything. So every June we'd go out and plant, and then October we would harvest it.
Did you
Yeah.
They just
harvest it by hand?
oh no, you would have your what's it called? Your combine,
Yeah,
a
it's
very
like a
small
little.
one. But
Yeah.
the ones that you couldn't get, you would follow the combine, and it wouldn't get everything, and you would have to like you'd have
Oh,
like a
right.
little scythe in your
Sickle.
hand,
Yeah.
sickle, thank you, yes, not scythe, but a sickle, and then the corners you'd have to get as well, and then it would pop out bundles of rice as it would go through the field, and then you would take those and put those on these metal racks to dry them out.
Uh huh.
Yeah, yeah,
And
really great.
I was saying, like, in parts of Japan,
Yeah,
before you had to harvest the rice, grow the rice, there was oftentimes 1 or 2 other growing periods before that.
yeah, yeah, and it depends on the rice as well. Yeah.
Also, Japan is a very long country, so the difference between being in the southern islands and the very north is really big temperature wise.
It's
It's subtropical down at the very southern point, and it's like,
That's where I'm
you know,
at.
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
it has like huge snowdrifts and everything up near the top. So um, and-
So wrong. So
yeah,
wrong.
So I'm going to, yeah, Japan, the southernmost part of Japan is contiguous, like, latitude, that's the no, latitude one way, latitude one way. Um, it was maybe Southern California.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's very comparable to California, just like Tokyo. If you put a needle through a globe and go all the way through, it kind of is at the same latitude as Washington D.C.
Yeah, it's
Um,
called up the
yeah, yep, yeah. As
Yeah.
you see, yep, it's right about the same. Same with the very north part of the island is right up there with like Maine and stuff. So same kind of very. And then the actual size of the country as a whole, if you flip flop it over, it's about the size of California.
Yep.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots to. So you can grow a lot of stuff there. But it just doesn't have a huge volume. It's like no way it can grow as much food as like other places. But
Yeah,
back then,
well,
it could definitely grow enough food for its population.
sort of.
cool. Well, guys, I do have to kind of wrap it up. So we'll just go around the horn real quick and
All right,
see what people are doing. Shieldwall.
all right. So on Thursday, I'm gonna be doing um, a free range on Roman of the Empire's channel. That's going to be 5 Pacific Standard Time. So stop by for that. We're going to be talking about like current events, news, and stuff, and whatever else tickles our fancy, I guess. Kind of like this. Next thing you know, we're talking about Naruto and 13th Warrior and hill shots and movies and whatever. So we'll see how it goes. It'll be a good time though. And then whatever we're doing next week on this channel on Tuesday.
Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine. All right. That's, yeah, the Dominion War. Those are always fun. So tune in for that at same bat channel, same bat time.
Matt.
What's going on? So this weekend should be coming out an episode on the questionnaires where we talk about some more articles about woke interference in video games. In theory, we'll be getting back to breaking down uh, the woke people, the woke assault on Tolkien, I guess you would say. Um, once our third member comes back from his hiatus. Uh, tomorrow on wrestling show Wednesday is over. Well, yeah, tomorrow Wednesday is overbooked. Joker Voice channel. We're talking about pro wrestling. Um, Thursday, like Shieldwall said, we have I guess a free random topic day on Shieldwall of the Empire covering Roman of the Empire on Roman of the Empire's channel. That's about what I got going on right now.
All right. James.
Yeah. Thanks again for having me on the show. Always appreciate the invite. I'll be just doing some random working on just personal projects, I guess. But I'm scheduled to be on Scooby's channel on the 23rd of August, And so that until then, I don't really have any plans of being on YouTube. I might do like just some impromptu lives or whatever. So just keep an eye out for that. But that's all I've got planned for the meantime.
Alrighty. Sammy.
Oh, or whatever way the wind blows, I'll probably be on someone's channel. But if you must figure out where I'm going to be, every Saturday I have a cave cast. That's every Saturday morning at 11:30 EST, and in other news, and that is every Sunday night at 9 p.m. EST. And otherwise, yeah, I'm on Leon's channel. I'm on Roman's channel. I'm on Devil Made Me Do It's channel. All over the place. Just bopping around. But I'm super glad that you invited me on for this one, because this is one of my favorite movies.
Glad you were able to come on.
Whoa.
Whoa, hey,
All right.
here we go.
I
Not
feel
funny.
Okay.
No,
so
it was weird though, because I was touching something paper in my hand and I was like, I'm not crumpling. I'm not crumpling.
I was diving into a fistful of potato chips.
It's all good, but it just freaked me out because my mind is telling me, it was like, my hand is still. I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Tomorrow night, I'll be on the Click It Codes channel. Then I'll be on Roman's show, Roman of the Empire show, and back here next week for Star Trek. So that's all I got. Thanks to the panel for being on and talking about this great movie.
Yeah.
Thanks to the chat for hanging with us. And I hope everybody has a good week, and we'll see y'all next time. Later.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Later.
Peace.
All I can say, McKay, is you take a hell of a long time to say goodbye.
Well, so long. So long.
See you around, Burton.
Never can tell.
Good boy.
Happy trails, Hans.
Goodbye.
Good boy.
Goodbye, bro.
Goodbye, Arab.
Goodbye, Northman.